Golden here, Julian?
Oh, Darrow, is that you? Are you well?
Oh, I'm prime. They busted up my right leg, though.
What do you think this is?
It's the passage, obviously.
But they lied. They said it would be tomorrow. Proctor Finchner, sir, you lied to us.
Lying takes too much effort.
Well, how dare you treat us like this? You must know who my father is, and my mother is a legate. I can have you up on charges for assault at a moment's notice. And you hurt Darrow's leg.
It's 1 a.m., dipstick. It's tomorrow. There's also 2 of you. Alas, only 1 spot is available in your class. I could make it ambiguous, but you look like rusty-headed lads. Only 1 of you comes out alive.
But what do you think they're doing? Do they expect us to...
Kill each other? Yes. That's what they expect. I expect to wear that ring, Julian. Will you let me have it?
I have to have it, Darrow. I am of the family Bellina. I can't go home without it. Do you know who we are? You can go home without shame. I can't. I need it more than you.
We're not going home, Julian. 1 person comes out alive. You heard him.
But they wouldn't do that.
No?
Please, Darrow, just go home. You don't need it like I do. You don't. Cassius, he would be ashamed if I didn't make it. I wouldn't be able to look at him. Every member of my family is scarred. My father is an imperator. An imperator! If his son did not even make it through the passage, what would his soldiers think?
He would still love you. Mine would.
I am Julian R. Bellina, of the family Bellina, my good man. Taro! My nose! Stop! No!
Eo. What am I becoming?
Adjustments to a dilithium crystal chamber complete.
Pre-recorded in a second-floor guest room filled with tall ales and taller tales. Join a group of grown men intent on discussing the intricacies of fantasy and science fiction. Tim Gilbert Media presents
Dungeons and Dweebs! Think about it like you got it right to the back.
Hello, all you members of Martian society, from the rustiest reds all the way up to the peerless scar. This is the Dungeons and Dweebs podcast, episode 7, Red Rising, part 1. I'm your host, Bob. Don't pull on my legs or I'm liable to sing Outlaw Tunes or Outlaw Blues. Burrowing belly viper, Pink Pixie the Ninth. But I'm not alone. Across the table from me, the man who's won laurels from his grandma by carving turkey better than Mickey carves a gold. Luke.
Well, hey, I'm super excited to be here doing Red Rising. I've donned my wolf cloak and I'm ready to jump into this thing. To my left, that's not just sweat leaking on his fry suit, it's Klab.
Greetings and aha, my young brethren. Younger Klab's still here. We've jumped into the sci-fi section of our journey through time and space. New novels, new friends, new frontiers. I found some of my extra dilithium crystals and I've recalibrated the inertial dampers to allow you younglings to hitch a ride with us across the galaxy. Don't forget your towel. Across the table from me, a new companion. He's the Alex Rogan to my Centauri. He's already in the corner mumbling, "Game over, man!" Join your proctor, Uncle Klab, my bloody damn pups, and welcoming Neal. Take your seat at the round table. How are you, my boy?
Doing good, but this table isn't round. I just want to point that out.
Ruining the illusion.
You already said across, but hey, it's good to be here. I would like to point out before we even begin, I have a plan.
Well, you saw what happened to Paul.
Yes, and that is actually in my plan. Plan number 1, steal Paul's chair, apologize for kicking him out of his chair. This is a pretty good chair, though. 2, feign computer emergency and steal Luke's chair.
Okay.
3, hide Uncle Klab's cane in the kitchen to take over his chair. 4, tell Bob there's a rare Marvel action figure downstairs.
Where what?
No, Bob, sit down.
Okay.
And once he leaves, I will become the host. Oh my God. Step 5, takeover episode. Step 6, profit.
Well, hey, once you figure that out, let us know.
I see money on the table, so I assume you guys have made something.
Yeah.
All
More of
right.
a prop. So here we are, Red Rising. This was kind of my baby. I found this. I'm gonna give a shout out to them. They don't need a shout out. The Triforce podcast, Peary and Flax over there shouted this book out. I, on a whim, bought the entire trilogy. And I do not, spoiler, regret it.
Yeah, well, hey, that's like a big dive in. I mean, to buy all 3 books of a trilogy without knowing whether or not they're going to be decent.
It was the way he raved about this book. I'm like, if this guy likes it that much, it's got to be good.
Right, and I remember you talking about this book because, you then when
I didn't want to be the only one going through it. And this is pre Dungeons and Dweebs when all we really did was watch movies and talk about it.
Exactly. So then, you're like, oh, this Red Rising book, you've got to read this, and showed it to me, and I immediately went and bought the first one, and have since bought the entire trilogy. So I will not spoil my thoughts.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yes. Neal, I got you in the bandwagon. I mean, you're wearing a red shirt right now.
Yeah, I am.
It looks like some sort of homemade Red Rising
It
shirt.
is a homemade Red Rising shirt, actually.
Wow, really?
Wow. That's really cool.
Just a red T-shirt from Walmart, I believe, for $5. Then some bleach. That's about it.
Wow, it looks
That's
pretty
really
cool.
I mean, it even fit the cover.
Yeah.
Wow, he's all in, boys.
Yeah, he is all in. I wonder what his review is going to be.
I will bring up the fact that, do you really think it's the best idea, now that we're going into the sci-fi version of this podcast, to be wearing a red shirt?
I don't know, is it?
This is command. This is dark red. This is command.
Klavacek is wearing a red shirt as well.
In this lighting, I'm really not sure if that's dark red.
2 blacks, 2 reds. That's okay.
It's kind of orange, though.
Well, we do
That's
then look
colorist.
like
Orange.
we do look like the cover of Red Rising.
We do, actually. It's totally unplanned.
But here we are with Sci-Fi. It's kind of nice, a nice change. I won't lie. It's nice to switch genres. And,
We enjoyed our time on Kryn with you guys, and anybody who came over with us, thank you.
Yeah, hey, you guys have been awesome. Tons of responses. We will say, because we're jumping over into Sci-Fi, and that we're probably going to be gaining a bunch of new listeners through the Sci-Fi end of things, we probably won't be doing a feedback episode on this one.
Just keep it clean.
We're going to keep
the
it
series.
a clean break to Sci-Fi, but we will be trying to get back and respond to you guys then on Facebook.
Yeah,
and
we'll
Twitter.
definitely be responding to you.
Oh, exactly. And by all means, if you came with us to Kryn, if you came on this journey with us to Kryn, come with us to Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do a little jump here.
Let's do a little jump. Hey, but before we jump, though, it kind of looks like I can see the bottom of my mug here. But hey, Neal, you're wearing a red shirt, so why don't you buy?
I don't know if they accept Republic credits here.
Where we're going, we don't need any Republic credits.
All right, guys, let's go.
We don't serve their
Do you have any blue milk?
But what am I supposed to find in it? Oh my goodness. It's bigger on the inside.
I want to go to Tashi Station and pick up some power converters.
Okay, it's not a detonator, it's just a jammy dodger.
What'll it be, boys?
Tavern Talk.
All right, we're back with a Tavern Talk. My mug is full, and I'm ready to go around the table.
Hold on. Okay.
I'm ready to go around the table. What's been going on with your nerd month?
My nerd month. Let's talk about my nerd month. Right now, and I guess this is kind of just what my seat on Tavern Talk is turning into is a little Dungeons and Dweebs update, because that is what I do now. not a bad thing.
It's the life.
I love it. I take care of the majority of the editing that goes on here. Something new. We started throwing our intros over on YouTube. If you guys want to jump over there, check them out. Chuck us a subscribe.
Right.
I mean, the page needs a little bit of love. I know. I'm gonna fancy up the front of it. We got that going on.
Yeah, hey, you uploaded all the intros that we did for the Dragonlance stuff.
Series.
Which,
we enjoyed those.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, they look really cool.
So if you guys want to go check out our YouTube, if you haven't already, go check out our Facebook. I mean, we really are trying to. We're getting used to this whole social media thing. We're not really social media guys, but we're really trying to engage with you guys. I think we're live streaming is a thing we've kind of thrown around a little bit, but hey, I mean, you won't know unless you've gone over to Facebook, chucked us a like, Twitter, started following us. That's all I really got going on is a little Dungeons and Dweebs update.
Yeah, hey, I'm so not social media that I don't even give the thumbs up when people I know get married or have children. But for some reason, I'm responding to people.
Just means you're rude.
I guess I'm just a rude jerk.
That's enough from me, Klab. How you been?
I don't give it a thumbs up either, but that's because I'm not happy, so why should anybody else be? Really, Red Rising has kind of consumed my life at this point. Going in, it is, October. We are going through October, so I always try to do my spooky stories. I always do a, rereading of Dante at this time to go through the sections of hell and find the little gross things. I just got my Halloween costume. Very excited about that. Nice and spooky. Yes, I am, barreling down on 40 here. However, I do like to dress up just like anybody else.
You know what? Growing up is for losers.
Exactly. People are giving away candy. Why in the heck would you not dress up?
Oh, I will grow old, but I will never grow up.
Never.
But yeah, really, that's what's been consuming is little Dante, little going through hell,
just
Red
reading,
Rising.
though, right?
That's we'll talk about that sometime, me boy.
Figuratively and figuratively.
Neal, what have you been up to the last month?
Last month, well, on Sunday, we went through another campaign session in our D&D spot.
Yeah, you're going to tell us all about that, aren't you?
I am not going to tell you two about that.
Come on, tell me.
Because, listeners, you've heard of them talk. You've heard Luke and Klab talk about their D&D campaign. Well, I'm part of the other party. We are the good team.
No, whoa.
That's in quotes. Good.
Quotes. You saw them. Okay. But we are split and separated from them, so we had one of our sessions. Mm-hmm. It was a very interesting session where my character hid for the longest amount of time. It was a great time, but the campaign is almost done. In theory, it'll end this coming Sunday.
Yes. In theory.
In theory, yes.
Yeah.
But
We'll
have to wait and see
how that goes.
Otherwise, I just finished reading up, what is it? Magnus Chase and the Ship of the Dead, I believe.
That's the third one, right?
That's the third one
Yep,
by
I just
Rick
bought that.
Riordan. Yep.
Cool.
And it came out, I believe, October 3rd. It was a quick read. Bob, you seem a little lonely right now.
Yeah.
The hat you're wearing makes you seem homeless. So what have you been doing?
It doesn't make him seem homeless. He looks like the Edge, man.
Yeah, I'm not homeless. I'm not homeless. Luke's now going to have to take a picture and send that out over Twitter.
I'll get your shirt, his hat.
No, I don't know. I don't want to be the one that has to sound like I'm doing what everybody else in the world seems to be doing. But my wife and I just finished rewatching again Stranger Things because
getting ready for season 2.
Yeah, because when we are recording this, it's dropping the next day.
Yes. This is the day before Stranger Things.
Yeah, so it's like kind of the greatest week ever. Get to record a Dungeons and Dweebs, then go see the next season of Stranger Things, and I find myself just loving that show. So can't wait for that new season. Other than that, like you, Luke, just non-stop Dungeons and Dweebs stuff, between the editing.
Not a bad thing, though, right?
No, again, like you said at one point, a labor of love.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
It really is. So yeah, making some of the video stuff, editing those intro things and everything else, constantly writing notes. But I'm loving it and yeah, really having a good time.
Yeah, cool.
Hey, young pup. It is still your turn to pay. You haven't bought the last one. You need to buy now. That's the rules of the 4th chair, young Padawan.
I thought you had enough so you'd forget that. Hang on a minute.
When has Uncle Klab ever had it?
You know Tashi Station?
I'm a leaf on the wind.
My friend got fired from there.
I'm a leaf.
Waiting around for that Skywalker kid to come pick up the power convoyers. We got downloads into the systems.
Pull up a chair, friend.
All right, here we are. We're all freshened up. We're ready to go. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. But yeah, let's not dilly-dally. I'm really excited to get into this. Bob, have you got us a plot synopsis?
I've got us a little something. Yes, sir, Luke. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Del Rey Books, January 28th, 2014. Darrow is a hell diver, a member of a group of mining colonists known as the Reds. Drilling deep into the surface of Mars, they mine helium-3, which is used by the Society to terraform Mars and prepare it for colonization by refugees from a dying Earth. Darrow is good at what he does and confident that his recent sacrifices in the mine will earn his clan the Laurel, a prize of extra rations given to the clan which produces the most. The prize is not awarded to Darrow and Clan Lambda, but to Gamma. The society Darrow lives in is differentiated by color, and being a red puts him at the bottom of society. Darrow's wife Eo consoles Darrow after the ceremony by taking him to a secret facility she's discovered. A garden, something Darrow, as a red and living underground, has never seen. They are caught leaving the garden, and Darrow and Eo are made examples of in the town square. Darrow is beat, but when his wife Eo is brought up to be beaten, she sings a forbidden song which leads to her execution by hanging. Darrow illegally cuts down his wife's body and buries it. It's a crime for which Darrow is hanged as well, but instead of death, he wakes up to find he has been drugged and taken by the Sons of Ares, a terrorist group bent on bringing down society's classes. They bring him to Mars' surface and reveal to him the great lie. Mars has been terraformed for hundreds of years. Cities and civilizations sprawl across the surface. The Reds are a class of slaves. Darrow is to be used to infiltrate the highest class in society, the Golds. He is brought to a carver who genetically transforms his body into the tall, statuesque, perfect form of the Golds. He is then given a false identity and enrolled in the Institute, where he is chosen by House Mars, one of the many houses, all designated by Greek names. He then is forced to kill another student in order to pass the test. Within the confines of the Institute, each house is assigned to defend and protect a fortress against the other houses. The goal is to dominate all others by any means, survival of the fittest. But there's trouble in House Mars, and instead of being united, the house splits into factions, one led jointly by Darrow and Cassius. Darrow enlists the help of House Minerva, led by the beautiful and deadly Mustang. After much infighting, the houses go up against arch-rival House Pluto and their ruthless leader, the Jackal. But all seems to be coming undone, as a messenger from the Jackal reveals it was Darrow who killed Cassius's younger brother, Julian, in the passage. A duel between Darrow and Cassius leaves Darrow dying in the snow. But Darrow is rescued by Mustang. The two begin to develop feelings for each other. The houses are allowed to force captives from other houses into slavery. Many of these slaves begin amassing themselves to Darrow. Instead of serving him, they follow Darrow out of loyalty and free will. Darrow finds out that the entire game is rigged. The Jackal is actually the son of the Arch-Governor Augustus. The Proctors have been assisting the Jackal as well. If the Proctors won't play by the rules, then neither will Darrow. In a fury, he kills the Proctor Apollo, and his army storms Mount Olympus, thus ensuring his victory. Impressed by his tenacity, Arch-Governor Augustus offers Darrow a position as one of his Lancers. Knowing this position will afford him the greatest opportunity to bring down the Golds from within, Darrow accepts. Darrow's rise has begun.
Wow! So here we go. I mean, this Red Rising. It just gets me so excited. We got.
Yeah, because this is your jam.
This is my jam.
Yeah,
it's my jam. It's my fault we're here.
Well, hey, this is not a mistake, Luke. I would have to say, yeah, Red Rising. Besides, I want to just really quickly get off from some superficial things. You can't judge a book by its cover, right? But let me tell you, I love the cover.
This art.
Yeah, there are times where I'm very superficial, and I will just walk through the book aisles, and if something jumps out at me, I'll give it another look, right? I love the cover of Red Rising. There's something very stark about it. It's just black with a red wing on it, but I don't know. I love the look of it.
And after reading the book here, and especially after going through the first half of the book that we're going to be looking at today, the wing makes sense. I will say,
yes.
Reading the beginning of the book, I was really confused by the wing.
Yeah.
What does the wing have to do with anything here?
That's not the sign of the Reds. What is going on?
They're miners. Nobody's flying.
We open up the book and something like a little Dungeons and Dweebs classic. We got a map.
Hey, I love me books.
Map.
I love me books. Books that open up with maps always grab my attention.
But,
hey, it's a book with a map.
But you get the map, you read it for a couple of chapters, and you're like, what is that map of? It's super confusing. Like, you have no idea. I mean, even, I'd say any other book, like, even if it's like some fantasy realm where, like, there's this huge map, and you're like, oh, well, I know at least one city on there, but the rest of it is, like, they're just names. I don't know them. None of this makes sense.
We will get there. We will get this to when the map actually makes sense. So let's just dive in with the prologue here.
Exactly. I love this. It says, we have this opening scene where we have this unarmed Gold giving a speech about how democracy is a lie and how Golds rule.
Democracy with a K.
Yeah, democracy with a K.
That was a little off-putting for me right away.
I jumped into the dystopian thing right away.
Okay.
It just felt really Mortal Kombat to me.
Oh, really? No. So to me, that was an instant symbol of future world, dystopian. Things are it's still the same, but shifted. I like this. Democracies with a K.
I just played too much Mortal Kombat, that's all.
The protagonist, whoever it is that's listening, says that he is a red and that all of them will die, right? And this is obviously our main character, Darrow, right? We're in his mind, right? We don't know it at the time, but I really like this opening. Mm-hmm. It kind of throws out a few terms that we need to know, right? It's immediately kind of setting up, this red gold scenario. Some of this language right off the way gets me. I love the fact when he's making this grandiose speech that he says things like, "I did not eat meals of hummingbird tongues."
Yeah.
I love this. Cool. It's like Darrow is setting up, and that's not the Gold that's giving the speech that says that. This is what Darrow says to himself, mm-hmm. and I love that, setting up that kind of that they're so opulent and decadent, and he is this
opulent,
in the dirt kind of grit. Immediately, it sets up that these two worlds that are coming into conflict, and I really like it.
Oh god, the last two sentences. Two of the last four sentences, shaped by hate, strengthened by love.
Yeah,
I love that.
For me, I had just finished up reading Ishmael by Daniel Quinn, actually. It's a weird segue here.
Yeah, weird.
But anyway, during this, he talked about how every culture has a story, and everyone in that culture is trying to enact that story. Oh. And in this case, here's the leader who's talking about, okay, here's the story of the Golds. All the Golds believe, okay, we are in charge. We have to do everything this way. This world is ours.
Right.
And now there's this red who realizes, wait a minute, it shouldn't be this way. Mm-hmm. Now he's going to rise towards it.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Little segue in there, sorry.
I like it.
But in going off what you said too, we're not quite there yet. We're not quite there to where he's, made the decision. He is, Darrow here at the beginning is okay.
Yeah.
He's okay with this is life. This is how this is how we live life. This is how we, really do it. And as we start to get into the more chapters here, we start to learn about this, concept that the Reds believe they're pioneers.
Yeah. Well, that's when we get to chapter 1. Yes. Because when we get this...
this part 1, slave.
Yeah, part 1, slave. Chapter 1, Helldiver.
Yep.
And I kind of like
a great name for a job.
I'm a Helldiver. I mean, that just has sex appeal to it.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. And I feel like, we're not told this, but I feel that in some ways, maybe that's what the Golds are doing. Society is doing that. Like, hey, you are like the people who are cutting their way into Mars. You're tough. Mm-hmm. You're rugged. This is going to be really hard. You're going to all suffer, but you're doing society this great. And we'll call you Helldiver. We're going to make you feel.
It's very.
It's like the mining version of the smoke jumpers.
Yeah,
the smoke jumpers on the fire departments.
It's a way of keeping them
studs.
Yeah.
Your job is dangerous, but you got a cool title.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought Texans.
The
Texans. Think about it. The stereotype for Texans is they're all out there. They're doing everything. This is what I thought Helldiver.
Yeah,
okay, they're jumping down.
Well, I do think it's kind of definitely that rugged individualism that we're supposed to feel like they are, kind of on the cutting edge. I think that's what they feel about themselves. Yep. Hey, times are tough, but we're the pioneers out on the lone prairie, and we're tough. But society, it should be said, they believe that Earth is dying.
Yep.
And the reason that they're not getting enough supplies and why things are so tough is because they're quickly trying to terraform Mars in preparation for kind of refugees that need to come from Earth.
They are the first ones here. They are really they've been told that they're really the heroes here. They are the pioneers. They are mining was it helium-3?
Helium-3.
Mm-hmm.
Helium-3.
They are mining the helium-3 in order to terraform the surface so that they can save the rest of humanity. That's really what they've been told. You're here to save the rest of humanity. The better you do your job, the more people you're going to save.
Exactly. And right off the bat, boy, I love the little details. We learn of our main character, Darrow, of his father's death. And about how the Golds tried him, the Greys hanged him. But right when they start, I mean, he talks about how when they hang somebody on Mars, the gravity is low. Oh. So they have to have a loved one pull the feet to break the neck.
Yeah.
Pierce Brown is some sort of genius. I don't know, for some reason, just that opening line, like if you're going to write a book, that very first thing immediately has me in. And I'm always a sucker for it, because I knew from the title and from these very first lines, I knew before knowing anything about this novel, this is going to be a rise of a slave class. This was not veiled to me that things were not right with this. You know, it's Red Rising.
Yeah.
I knew this was a slave. The first part is called Slave.
Yeah.
You know, I know this is going to be a rise from slavery story, and just with those opening lines, I'm a sucker for that. I'm such a sucker, and I loved it.
And what a cruel societal thing to do by the Golds to make if you are persecuted, if you are hanged at this point, your family has to be the one to basically kill you.
Give you a mercy killing,
And everybody, and so we get that feeling that everybody's so ingrained in this society that nobody thinks twice about this.
Right.
It's just, well, that's how things work. That's what you do is you're 6, 7, 8 years old and you grab your father's legs to help break his neck because the gravity doesn't work. And just how heartbreaking is that?
So immediately we learn that our character, kind of his backstory of his father, we're already feeling for him. Then we kind of learn, we get kind of a data dump on him, who he is, right? He mines helium-3 deep within Mars. We find that he's an expert at it. So we already
he's very dexterous.
Yeah, so we get this idea that he's already kind of better than, the rest of the people around him.
But and at the same time, we find out that he's younger than most of the other people around him as well.
I'm
16.
glad,
and this is something we have to talk about.
We have to talk about this because I feel that this might really bear on some people on what they feel about this novel. I know it actually kind of might with me. I'm going to have my own opinion on this, and I would love to talk to Pierce Brown and find out what he thinks. But we've had this discussion. How old is this character? The book?
It says he's about 16.
Right.
But 16 in Martian years is about 31?
Yeah, about 30, 31.
But then when we jump on later in the book, everybody's referred to as boys and children and everything else.
So I was
humans would still age at our normal rate on Mars, but are they still considering Earthling years?
Right.
But these guys are underground, so why would they...
So would they still be going with Earth
Why would
years?
they go with a Martian year?
So
exactly.
Yeah.
But
I don't...
So then we get to his father, and they were told his age, which would put him, either young or an older father. Like everybody we encounter when their ages come up kind of works either way. But I'm with you, Klab, where the way they talk about how they refer to him as young and how young Eo is, but yet they're married, and the thing she says and does seems like she should be more of a woman getting close to 30 sometimes. Like I don't feel like a 15, 16-year-old would say this.
But I also feel if they were that old in this society...
Yeah.
If they were that, the 30, if they were, late 20s, early 30s, whatever, in, quote unquote Martian years, they'd already have a bunch of kids.
Right. Yes. No, you're right.
In this society, they would have already reached that breeding age.
What I feel is maybe what we're supposed to think is since they live such a this is not like an Earth type society, right?
It's a hard life.
It's a hard life. So
you're not going to live long.
So like cultures in the past, even our own American society in the 1700s, right? People matured much sooner, were given responsibility, and would seem far more adult at a younger age. I'm thrown to a book that I've read before called Prince of Thorns, which I absolutely love. Prince of Thorns. But the author made the main character in that book 16 as well. That And I totally reject that in that book. Like, as I read the book, I instantly make him in his late 20s to 30s because the things he says and does are so not in keeping with a 16-year-old. I can't take it.
And how could any adult relate with a 16-year-old?
The book would not even. I wouldn't like it at all if it's actually 16. I can maybe go with this 16-year-old thing here in Red Rising, but I'm really hoping that he was meaning more the double years. That he's 31. I don't know.
And see, I'm really the other side of the coin, Bob.
Really?
Is I want him to be in those teenage years here. That's what I felt throughout the entire thing. I went with the whole frontier planet. Think even like, frontier United States when it was going through in the 17 and 1800s. It wouldn't have been that odd for the 16-year-old to be working,
getting
to
married
be in the
young.
job, to be getting married young. And going through the aspects. Right. Okay, Neal, you're pointing at something in the book.
Yeah, bring it up.
Here we go.
You have to share it with the group.
I am with Klab on this one because of the following line, partially. And here's where I'm going, the fact that even though it seems younger to us, they are more mature for society just because of how the aging goes. And the line is, I've been in the mines for 3 years. You start at 13. Old enough to screw, old enough to crew.
Wow.
Okay.
There it is.
There it is.
In a very simple line. Yeah.
In a very simple line, they're already up that higher age stage. So I'm with you, Klab, on this.
Well, and I look at the aspect too where it talks about when we get into the information about Darrow and Eo's marriage.
Right.
Yep.
And I brought back to the information that we get about the marriage and the marriage customs and the marriage laws on the ages that men and women can marry, or boys and girls can marry, if you want to go on that. And the fact that Eo actually waited for him for 2 years to get to the right age so that they could marry.
Right. So let's take it out of the chapter for a second, and then throw this around, because then here is what I always then kind of have problems with, and is I am not a young adult book reader. I don't read young adult novels,
I don't either.
And it's probably an issue that I have. I never read The Hunger Games. I never read any of them. There's kind of this thing with me, I guess, high-mindedness. I don't know, that if it's a young adult novel, I just tend to stay away from it because I really don't care about reading about teenage protagonists. Whereas this book to me does not feel. I don't know if this is considered young adult. I feel this is way too bloody and violent to be considered young adult. To me, this is like the beer drinking man's Hunger Games. But this is something for like guys sitting around a bar. Hunger Games. So I don't even like that on the back of the book. They compare it to like, if you like Hunger Games, you're gonna like this. I wouldn't even compare this to Hunger Games in a lot of ways. This to me is an adult novel.
I'm gonna bring up Hunger Games later, Bob.
I know you are.
But I think you have to separate your idea between young adult and what's written for young adults versus simply having a young adult character.
Okay.
And how those can be two different things.
Yeah.
This isn't. I don't think this has the young adult character, but I agree completely with you.
This is not a young adult book.
This is not your follow-up to the Hunger Games.
No. So if you're a person like me who kind of gets turned off by young adult novels, don't be turned off by Red Rising. Continue with it, because I feel this is not a young adult book.
Going to that same line you have on the back where it talks about Hunger Games, at the same time it talks about Game of Thrones, all in the same sentence.
Can I say another thing I hate? I hate when they compare it to Game of Thrones. I hate when books are compared. I don't like that, because Game of Thrones, I feel, is just like anytime something is
the gruesomeness. I could agree
gruesomeness with. Or politically, there's a lot of political machinations, because that's what everybody now watches and reads. They throw it to Hunger Games.
And see, that's the thing, and that's what everybody. That's a marketing thing, and I completely. Yeah,
it's a marketing.
I completely blow that to the side.
Yeah, and I don't care.
That's a marketing thing. That's comparing. That's the same thing as comparing. 80s and 90s sci-fi
to Star Wars. Everything is Star Wars. Which, by the way, I see way more Star Wars in this book than anything else. I see this.
You see Star Wars in everything.
This is the rise of Luke Skywalker. I'm telling you, I swear, Pierce Brown has done the Joseph Campbell thing, and this is a rise, the Joseph Campbell style.
Hero with 1,000 faces.
It's a hero of 1,000 faces. Okay, right here.
Yeah. Well, let's move on.
Hey, we're still in chapter 1.
we get into chapter 2 and we get this explanation of the township, and I love this data dump here about, Neal, you actually brought it up a little bit earlier when we were talking outside the mic of it's a hive.
Yeah, it is.
It's a hive of different clans that are all working against each other.
Because everybody's underground in tunnels, and I love that. I love that imagery.
And there's all these clans, and they meet right at these centers, right? I love that there's
and he's got a drunk uncle because everybody
needs a drunk uncle. Yeah,
I'm here for you, kids.
In chapter 2, Darrow has
as well.
In chapter 2, Darrow has a run-in with the Greys. They're kind of like the police force, right? They're the enforcers in the community.
But we get this feel right away too that even though the Greys are the police force, like everywhere else in the community, if you're the cops here, you're not the good cops.
No.
These guys are dirty.
I mean, their leader is named Ugly Dan. You know what I mean? And he's got a mechanical arm. I wonder if he's made dragon lances.
But I feel like it's not a good mechanical arm. I feel like it's
it'd be making noises.
Yes, like
it
it's
even
the cheap
says it's an old
arm.
replacement model. It's not a good one.
Yeah,
because he's on a worthless planet to the Gold Society.
Chapter 2 is where we kind of get this little thing that I like because I work in IT. Over here we got the Hallbacks take my pull. The Hallback, the whole thing with starting something with a lowercase letter, cramming 2 words together, and then having the second word start with an uppercase letter. That's what's called camel case. Camel case is used a lot where I first learned about it was when I was learning to program in Objective-C. This is like a super nerdy thing here, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for throwing that one up.
So do our other 3 listeners who understood what you just said.
All right, guys.
Text rising.
Red text rising.
Red text rising. But yeah, I like you said, Klab, there's this data dump on what the village looks like, right? I like that there's this thing called the holocan, where all the propaganda is. I'm thinking again.
I'm feeling like town square. There's this like holocan that's constantly like, you are fighting for Mars.
Yep. And that's very
fighting for Mars.
To me, that's very old school sci-fi.
Yeah,
I mean, this is Star Wars has this, and Star Trek, right?
Well, and it is very old school sci-fi, where it's the Nazi propaganda that's coming over the TV.
Yes.
That's coming over the Nazi propaganda that's coming over the TV and the radio to tell you that everything's okay and we're going to take care of you.
Yeah. Oh, but you know what? Now that you bring up propaganda, at this point when I'm first reading this book, not knowing how everything is going to go, I'm going, okay, we've got propaganda, like you're talking about Nazis, and I'm going, okay, the book is called Red Rising. He is just a worker. He's living in this hive. And there's this echelon of society. I'm like, is this some sort of Karl Marx manifesto dressed as sci-fi? The rise of the proletariat. And so occasional alarm bells are going off in my mind.
We're starting. That's even better since we move on to the next chapter with the Laurel.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we've got sort of an idea of the structure of society, the colors. We've learned a little bit more about Eo. We're going on to the Laurel here. But the Laurel is a prize given to the clan that.
And this is a great
harvest the most.
Correct. And this is a great concept. I mean, this is the proletariat that is going to
work harder.
That is going to. We will give you the prize for working harder. And then we find out all this information, and and actually, Darrow is pretty sure that his clan is finally going to beat the other clan that always wins.
Yeah. Yep. Right.
He's got the prize. Yeah. They've harvested more. He's going to do it. He goes through this whole sweet. Portion in chapter 3 here where he dives out of his drill
right
and ends up burning himself as he's like hopping down in like this weird like bungee jump he goes down to try to fix stuff.
And we haven't really talked about this drill. This drill has some sort of like multiple drills on the end of it, on the end of fingers. He sits on the back of it, and he, as a helldiver, wears this suit that I thought was
fry suit.
The fry suit that they say is just smelly. And I love these pit vipers that they talk about. Some sort of snake that has been brought to Mars.
I didn't know what to think here. Like it's a problem with me, honestly. Like whenever I get into something new, like I'm just confused. Which I mean,
well, how to picture stuff.
How to picture stuff. What's going on? What book did I just pick up? I don't. It's about a miner who's being attacked by eels underground.
Right.
Like, I don't.
I think when I first read this, I was pretty close to having watched Prometheus.
Oh,
so I was
okay,
very quickly seeing kind of that weird little snake thing that had come. That they had in Prometheus.
And but we get these great descriptions about you have to have this fry suit to protect you because, well, it's Mars, so it's warm.
Yeah.
You know, everything's so hot, and there's all these gases down here.
Yep.
And if the pit viper chews into your suit, the adults will go into your belly and lay eggs.
It's so disgusting. And I love that. Very, very gross.
Like you said, Bob, the drill here, which is this very sci-fi drill.
Yes.
It's this very sci-fi drill where he puts his hands in the drill containers. And we've talked about it before. We're in a mining community.
Yeah, we live in a...
So I understand, being in the trucks, and I know a lot of guys who work in the trucks. And now I'm imagining those guys in that fry suit. And I'll guarantee you none of them are dexterous enough to run this truck.
Yeah. My dad worked in the mines and stuff, so I guess a lot of this, probably for us here, is really resonating pretty well. This mining community, right?
But yeah, we get back to the Laurel. They've all gathered together at this point.
His dad is still hanging from the gallows.
Oh, that's
as a skeleton.
Yeah, because that's like a thing. Like you can't bury them.
You can't bury them. As a symbol, they hang there. So as readers, I don't think we're supposed to be fooled. At one bit from the beginning of this novel, we know that society is not okay.
Oh God, no.
And the Reds are in some ways
at this point. Yeah.
At this point, we don't know the big reveal.
He's not just a hardworking miner. No, he's part one slave.
Yeah, he's a slave. Yeah. I like this. What I like is these tin pots, as he calls them. They have grav boots. They're not good. They kind of like sputter and.
I love the image of grav boots, though.
I do too.
Of this idea of the anti-gravity like boots, and I'm always picturing like the old like swashbuckler boots, except made of metal.
Right. The speaker comes down and he's kind of tottering around on his grav boots. I'm kind of getting images from Dune as well of the big fat guy that kind of like hovers around in his weird chair. And a lot of things about like data and bureaucracy and management. He tells them that he wants them to live a happy, simple life, right?
We get a little bit about dancing too, which is kind of weird to me. Maybe it's just because I'm not a dancer. I don't know.
With that part of it, Lambda, they've never won before. So they are pumped as can be. So they're going to celebrate. And with this community, dancing can be good, or it can lead to possibly you being hanged.
Yeah, there are certain dances that are forbidden.
The devil's dance.
I loved this going to the Laurel ceremony section where Darrow and his entire clan, they're doing flips, and this was completely the outsiders on the way to the Rumble for me from the 80s.
I want to add, though, almost the entire clan. The older members of the clan, like his uncle, are not as happy right now. They're not celebrating as much.
Well, that's because they understand.
I'm going to get to that when it comes up here, but they understand what's about to happen. The younger ones, they are pumped as can be. They are the outsiders, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Right. They think
The
they're going to
older
win.
ones,
But who wins? I mean, they don't win. No. The Laurel. As they should have.
Darrow is super confident that they will win the Laurel, and that he has beat Gamma's production.
Yeah, right. And then there's the Gamma. I love the description too here of the Gamma Helldiver.
Yeah.
Darrow's counterpart in Gamma.
Yep.
And he's just this cocky guy who's like leaning back, smoking a cigarette with a girl sitting next to him. Like, you ain't done nothing, boy.
I do like that.
That's pretty cool.
So we're on to chapter 4, right?
The gift.
Because and Gamma wins the Laurel.
I want to have one bit of foreshadowing here, right before the Laurel happens.
Yeah.
As Darrow's sitting there, all cocky as can be, I'm going to stand. I won't stand up. I'll just smile. I'm their pride. Their golden son.
Oh.
What's the name of book 2?
That's the name of the book.
Oh, Golden Sun. Yeah. I like it. Well, anybody can see that on Amazon.
Anyone can see this. Anyone can see this, Klab. I like how you see that he has this whole, yes, I am the best person in Lambda. It's all great. Gamma's the winner. What?
Yeah,
and at this point, he just gets crushed. He can and now he has 2 paths on what he's going to do. He'll either... Let's go to someone else here because I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to put it into words.
He's ticked. He's furious. He's gonna sulk.
Right, exactly.
It's because he understands that he can't. There's not a darn thing he can do about this. He's furious. He knows this is wrong, and now he's gonna sulk. So enter the good lady to come in and take care of her man.
All right, chapter 4. Chapter 4, the gift. Right. I really like this. Eo calms Darrow down though by taking him to. I like these words. The Webbery. Yes. Where she works with these spider worms.
And this, we get a little bit of a glance into like what their living quarters are like. They live with like their entire family.
Right. Yeah.
Just
in like a twin bed,
crammed into a closet. Yeah.
Which I mean, I'm immediately thrown back to turn of the century America. Yeah. Where you would have people living in tenements, in large family dwellings.
Hoovervilles.
So I'm feeling that's kind of what he's trying to call back there. But I like, and even this kind of idea of a textile mill, right, where women at the time would have been living in.
Yeah, the men go mine.
The men go mine, and the women are working in textile mills.
Yes.
And there's these cool imagery of like these spider worms, whatever they look like, whatever's in your mind, and they knit silk, and that's what they're working with.
Like
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
My picture.
They go through this old vent, and they come out into this garden, and I really like this.
Super
and
cool.
Darrow sees stars for the first time, and everything just takes his breath. And there's grass for the first time in his life because he's been born. He was born in the mine.
And this is where I'm going to again throw that. This is not a young adult novel, because what I love what he does here is Darrow says, I live for you.
Yeah.
Right? And that's that teen, angsty kind of love. And Eo just totally throws that out and says, then you must live for more.
Yeah. Yep.
And I love that. I'm like, instantly, I read that.
Eo's becoming my favorite character.
Yeah,
I like Eo. Eo is the brains.
Like
chill. I have written down in my notes.
Yeah,
Eo is the brains.
Because chills go up my spine when I read this. I instantly know I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't know she's going to bite it yet. But I'm like, this is going to be such, this is going so well for me right now.
But we have this feeling because they make, they make love under the stars on the grass.
I wrote down boot scene.
In honor of you three, and you're last. Actually, this was
grab boot scene. Grab boot scene.
Grab boot. A grab boot scene. This is the last time we're going to throw this out. But for those of you who haven't heard...
it's a good place to put it.
The good place to put it. The boot scene is what we have come to term a lovemaking scene, because in old Hollywood, the camera would show the two lovers going towards the bed, the man would take off his boots, and the camera would stay on the boots as the two fell into bed together.
And then it would and then we'd never see anything, but it would magically become morning, and they're laying there with the L-shaped sheet.
And by L-shaped sheet, we mean it would go up, cover her bosoms, and proceed directly down at like a 90-degree angle to cover his loins.
So they make love on the grass, and I'm really feeling for these two characters, and I understand how much that they are in love.
Yeah, I mean, Eo is this ideologue, though. She sees this bigger picture. This is all done really beautifully, and we're just given just enough that you get a feel for the relationship. You get to care about both Eo and Darrow. And then they return and they are caught. They come out and they're caught.
And here's Ugly Dan.
I instantly know.
3 tin bats.
Even the first read through, and I think this is not weakness in the writing. I knew Eo was dead.
Did you?
As soon as they caught him, because this is a slavery tale, I'm like, this is a slavery tale. I know Eo is going to die. I know that's what's going to send him on the rise.
Yeah, actually, I had no clue.
But for me, that was a good thing, because this whole next chapter, I am reading with dread. Like he has already primed me so much for this relationship that this whole chapter is just, I'm dreading this entire chapter.
The other part there, why the dread is coming. Early on in, I believe, chapter 2 or 3, Darrow said he had a surprise for Eo. His surprise, they were going to win. But she goes, I have 2 surprises for you instead. Aww. The first surprise... Aww. I'm sorry, Luke. Aww. First surprise is, look at this wonderful garden. They go above.
Yeah.
And at the end, wait, you said you had another gift for me. She goes, another time. And then they're caught.
Yeah.
And there's this surprise just waiting and holding over the spot here.
What did you... Because we never actually find out what the other surprise was. What did you think the other surprise was?
I'm so lost at this point.
The problem with me right now is, since I have read them all before, I don't remember what my initial first thought was. I know what it is. I don't want to say anything. Is the problem?
Neal, I got to ask you.
Is the problem?
Do you find out in the third book?
It's either the third.
No, it's in this one.
Is it in this one?
I think it's the second or the third. But anyway, it's not the first book. Is where the surprise happens.
I completely went here.
Yeah.
I completely went here that she was pregnant.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Is that not?
It should be said where we're at with reading here, because Neal is tight as a clam right now because he's read all three, so he's not saying anything.
I have many notes that say no
you
spoiler.
And I have read books 1 and 2.
Nope, I did not finish 2.
Okay, so I'm all the way through 2, and Klabachek has read the first.
Klab and I are in the same place.
Yeah, I'm done with the first.
Okay, so we're not intentionally trying to spoil. This is what we think.
There's a lot of foreshadowing.
I think there's so much foreshadowing that you have to come away with the belief that she is.
You have to, yeah.
Pregnant. I agree. But we get to this. I was dreading this chapter. It's only chapter 5. I shouldn't be this attached to the characters. I am dreading this.
Exactly.
Well,
this is how you build characters, people. Right here. For me, this is how you do it.
And we get to chapter 5 here, and we have the classic town square lashings.
Right.
Where everybody's brought out to witness this.
This is good.
They're
really good.
He's tied to the stone in the middle of the courtyard.
I'm seeing Braveheart.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Freedom. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, and so he gets lashed, and he takes his lashings.
Yeah.
And then
you know what? The way I want to keep highlighting Pierce Brown's use of the English language, because he calls her a little girl, all wire wrapped in pale skin. I love that because it shows how hard she's, like this hard worker, right? Who spends all of her times in these textile factories.
Yeah, she's the working frontier woman.
Yes, she is.
Working
so she's tough. She's just
woman.
all wire muscles wrapped in this pale skin, but she's still just this little girl, right? And this is what's going to happen. Again, I'm just reading this just like I'm almost tearing up as I'm reading this already. And okay, I am kind of an emotional sap at times, but this book is hitting me at all levels. Right
Who
now.
are you, and what have you done with Bob?
I have children.
Little girls.
And I have little girls. Yeah, so this is really tearing me up as I'm reading this.
And great writing when he talks about the individual lashes, too, as we go through here. Neal, where are you on this?
Well, I'll go to your lashes spot, then I'll go back to something else, where it's 48 lashes, but then, no, we're not going to have you serve the full. I'm going to come in and rescue you. So it looks like I'm doing a great thing. At that point but really, are they really doing a great thing? No, your sentence isn't commuted. You're still getting all the lashes.
Yeah. Right.
But it looks good to everyone else. And that slave obedience thinks, oh, they're so nice. Because this is the first chapter, we see a gold.
Yes.
And we have the description for them.
Yes.
And it's a
Nero, Augustus. I'll throw this out there real quick. We get it later on in the book. This kind of what I picked up immediately, AUO.
Yeah.
Periodic table. AU is gold.
I never picked that up.
See, I'm
picking up all these weird
Mind
little
exploding. Good one.
And see, that jumped me immediately to Romanism.
Nope.
And to Romanism and the Caesars and things, because AU is of. That's what it means.
Yeah. But no, it should be said, should be said that this is completely Romanesque. Like everything we're talking about, laurels, right, and all of these names are extreme. So there's a bit of
nobility.
Pierce Brown is throwing a lot into the cauldron here to boil. I think a lot of it is things like from the Gladiator, things from Spartacus, right? I mean, he's taking a lot of this stuff and throwing it together. But I love it. I love it. Which is why I think depending on your age is what you'll think of how derivative some of this material is, right? I feel that if you're older, like I was, I'm approaching 40, as I'm reading this, if I'm seeing things that he's borrowing or using, I'm seeing it from old stuff. I'm seeing stuff from Star Wars. I'm seeing stuff from, old movies like Spartacus or Ben-Hur, right? Whereas it feels like maybe a younger crowd is just seeing things like Hunger Games and fill in young adult.
I never read the Hunger Games. I watched all the movies.
I haven't.
I watched all the Hunger Games movies, all the Divergent movies, Maze Runner. The movies, I never read the books.
Okay, I'll jump in here quick on this because I've done both. First off, don't touch the Maze Runner movies because they're crap compared to the book.
I enjoyed the first one. I don't know what the heck happened in the second one.
Yeah, you have to. There's so much missing in the movies.
Okay. Anyway.
The books are good, but it's this same dystopian idea,
Right?
And I completely thought that he was. I give Pierce credit because I completely thought he was going to go full Hunger Games on this.
I volunteer.
With
Well, he kind of did. He volunteered to take her lashes.
well, yeah, but it didn't work. It didn't work.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, I thought this was going to be
super realistic. I like that.
Go full.
Let's get into this death of Eo because I love this. Again, maybe it's melodramatic or something, but again, it's hitting on all fronts.
But this, and even just you can feel it coming. And you flip the page to chapter 6, and it says the martyr, and you're like, no,
because you know it's coming. But I love that she whispers to him, "Break the chains, my love," and it says this thing about a nail being dragged, like it feels like a nail dragged along the bones of my spine, right? That imagery is so good because I'm feeling the same thing that he's writing, and I'm like, oh, this is so good.
And this is where it's coming away from, like It's always equated to, well, it's a young adult novel, it's Hunger Games. I don't feel it.
I don't feel this is young adult.
I couldn't even name you another book where in 5 chapters I'm begging for a character not to die.
And Pierce Brown, if you're getting labeled as young adult, break those chains. Because
what was that?
That is not what you are. This is what guys sitting around drinking beer.
I believe that's a quote.
At least this guy
out of chapter 5.
Likes.
Break the chains.
No. Yeah, break the chains.
So we get this. Eo hangs.
Yeah,
And let's go back for 1 second here. It's not because she was up in...
You're right.
This is the one thing that we missed over here. It's not because she went up into the garden. It's because she did one of your guys' favorite things from Dragonlance.
Yeah, she
sang a song.
A good song.
She sang a very good song. The one that you're not supposed to sing.
Right, a forbidden song.
This was almost our intro too, but we kind of ran into the issue of like... We're on a short little we're on time constraints here, and we can't get like somebody in to sing a song.
Yeah, if there was going to be a scene that we would have done. Yeah. This is the scene we were going to do.
None of us are going to be able to sound like a female Eo
16-year-old girl.
Yeah, well, it should be said that all of the female parts that have been done up till now have been done by my wife, Crystal, and she was not really wanting to sing.
But yeah, it's Eo kind of. I feel like she sings that song to save Darrow because she feels like Darrow is going to just keep trying to save her until they kill him.
I feel like Eo knows. She is purposely she has the bigger picture in mind. She is doing this because she knows it will propel him.
Yes.
You know,
she's the brains, like I wrote earlier.
Yeah,
she knows what's going on.
Eo is my hero.
I like Eo.
Oh my gosh.
And so what does he have to do though? I mean, hang.
Don't want to say it.
Yeah, it's she is his, he is hers. He has to go up there and break her neck.
Well, and before that though, she's allowed to talk. Before they actually hang her, she's allowed to have one brief little conversation with whoever she chooses, and he's all ready to go up there because he figures that she's going to choose him as her husband.
Yep.
And she says no, she wants to talk to her sister.
Yeah, right.
And so we have this moment where he's just standing there, heartbroken, struck, going, "What is going on here?
Yeah, why aren't you talking to me?"
Yeah, and I'm saying the same thing as a reader. I'm going, but which I love because it's creating all these different levels. I know something's up now with Eo. I know something's going on with her sister. I know this is all going to come up later, but it's creating all this mystery and intrigue that is propelling me through this book. I'm reading at a faster pace. I'm going quickly and quicker, right? Yep.
And then she goes. I'm just gonna hit you with the, and you know what? I'll have to edit this out. It's okay. We're a clean podcast. The last line of this chapter.
Yeah.
It's is it the Archgovernor? Yes, the Archgovernor said it idly. I have an appointment with Arcos. Hang the rusty lest she continue to howl. Like it's such an emotional moment, and he hits it with such. There's no emotion. It's just dry blood.
He's a red. I mean, he's a gold. Reds are instant.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. Just
And
Yep,
that right
exactly.
immediately puts you, like, if you were not already on the side of the Reds, you are now.
Yeah, how can you not be, right?
Nobody calls Eo that.
So let's jump into chapter 6, the martyr, right? Eo's hanging, Darrow pulls the legs. What I love this...
what a description here. Feeling the crack as he has to pull her legs.
Yeah.
And the callback to the first chapter.
I'm not too big of a man. I was all misty out here.
I am too.
I couldn't handle it.
I was choked up at this point, and what I love is that the hollow just keeps playing the video though over and over again with the song that Eo's sang. Immediately though, when this comes up, because it's not revealed why this is happening, I'm going, why are they doing this? Like, okay.
I immediately knew it was hacked.
See, I didn't immediately know it was hacked. I'm going, okay, so why is the society playing this? This is going to create a martyr. The chapter is even called Martyr. It doesn't take long.
This
is a hack.
This was absolutely, completely Johnny Mnemonic, the old graphic novel, and
good reference.
Fairly okay
Johnny Mnemonic
Keanu movie.
Yep.
And this was totally somebody's hacked this. They're broadcasting this in order to, kind of rile up the citizens and hey look at this girl, man, Ice-T's gonna come on here and be like, hey man, know the truth. You're all peons.
And I love this. Darrow cuts her down, buries her where they made love.
Which is forbidden. And he was watched so that he wouldn't do this.
Yeah.
They had the whole family on a suicide watch for him because they knew he's going to go out, he's going to do this, they're going to kill him.
Right.
And he has a secret tunnel. He just leaves.
Yeah, and he doesn't care. But they catch him, right, and they hang him. I love this. He meets his uncle, and his uncle gives him something to drink. I knew immediately, because if there's one thing that Pierce didn't do, he didn't really hide it at all. I don't feel like...
yeah, you knew his uncle was drugging him.
Yeah, you knew his uncle was drugging him, and you knew that he wasn't going to die in this hanging. So I wasn't fooled at this one at all. But his uncle goes up to pull the feet, and I'm not in any suspense, really. I know the uncle has done something, and he's not going to die.
Yes.
I'm looking at the rest of the book here going, it's chapter 6.
Darrow can't die.
I don't know.
Good change, though.
I'm thinking like...
Unless we're changing point of view drastically.
That's what I thought. I'm like...
It's going to be Uncle Neryl's story from the first
and that's what sobered up Uncle Neryl.
Who has Eo has a younger sister, Dio.
Right.
Doesn't Darrow has a younger brother?
Starts with an L, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe...
Kieran.
You know what?
Kieran.
You know what? Part 2 is called Reborn. Maybe it was foreshadowed so heavy that there's a child. This was all a extended prologue about the death of the child's father that would propel him to being the... I don't know.
I'm already on 5 chapters. I care so much about Eo. I've never felt like so much about a character that wasn't even in all 5 chapters.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna kill the main character? Sure.
yeah, exactly. They'll do anything in this book.
I will give this book credit with the fact that I will give this book credit, and this is something that we've railed on in past podcasts.
Yeah.
This book's not afraid to kill characters.
No, it is not.
Okay, see you later, I guess.
Thank you, Pierce, for having the balls to kill characters. Guts. Having the guts.
So he's drugged, he's passed out, he's hanged. Where are you going?
I do like here, right before we go to part 2.
Yeah.
Right before part 2, there's this wonderful line. Kieran, his brother's coming up to pull down on the feet. His uncle shows him out of the way, grabs him, winks at him.
So that's
and
why you know.
pulls.
And Pierce is not trying to hide anything, because you go into it's Reborn, chapter 7, Lazarus. You know he's coming back.
Good title.
Good title. Very good title. All right, so on to part 2, Reborn. We're in chapter 7, Lazarus. We talked about it.
Hey, part 2 of book 1.
Don't bring that up again.
That was my bit last time. That's my little one. Callback.
Volume 1.
Volume 1 of book 2 of 3, whatever.
But we get this, I really like this kind of description, he's waiting to see Eo.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care that he's being killed. He doesn't.
Yep.
But he doesn't see her.
Right. But I like this. He's been given a drug that slows everything down, and then he's picked up in this 6-wheeled vehicle by the sons of Ares. And I love that they're all dressed up in masks. One's a
Ares,
demon,
the god of war.
Yeah, one's a witch, etc. All this kind of stuff. I love that they call this October Knock. right?
Ooh,
like
yeah,
so you know, again, you're kind of you're taking sometimes European influences. This is a world that feels like an extension of Earth, but it's just slightly different. I like it.
Well, and somebody who is myself, I'm an Aries. When you look at your signs and everything else, and so for all of a sudden to have this group and be found out about this terrorist group essentially that is the Sons of Aries, I'm like, all right, I'm in.
Nice. So there's no Sons of Aquarius? there is the Age of Aquarius.
This is the Age of Aquarius.
This is. But it's Harmony and Ralph. I don't know what I feel about the name Ralph. But he is said to be a weakling. He hides his hands.
The weakling Ralph is unremarkably ugly.
I hide those hands. She is pale, but I love that she's beautiful, and it already says more than Eo. Like more beautiful than Eo.
Half beautiful.
Oh yeah, she's like burnt. Or
no, I know. I'm getting to that.
Oh, we're just going.
The other half, and the other half of her face is burnt.
She's the female Two-Face.
Yeah, yeah. I like it. They take him to meet this guy named Dancer,
who was referenced back by his uncle a little earlier in part 1.
Yeah, there's been a lot of dancing going on. I'm not too surprised that this like code name is being brought up.
Dancer. But all of this is very fast. It's all very fast-paced. Things are happening quick. He's really good at creating very distinctive characters that stick with you, that you don't need a lot of description on. Like, you know, they're very quick archetypes, kind of in a way that just they stick in your mind and you just go with them.
And Pierce is very good here too about Darrow's confusion.
Yeah,
but not getting caught up in Darrow's confusion. He's being whisked along. There, you know, he's going somewhere he doesn't know where. He just really doesn't care at this point either, because he's just like, okay, why am I still alive?
Right.
And so, but it's very fast paced as we're going through these different stages to, we're going to bring you to the person to talk to. No, I want to know information now. No, we're going to bring you to the person you need to talk to.
Yeah. All very intriguing, so we jump immediately, it feels like very fast-paced, to Chapter 8, Dancer. And we find out Dancer is an old man, right? He's
old at 40s?
At 40s.
40s, he's terribly old.
Yeah.
Well, again, look at the community
and
we're
look at their
talking
community.
about.
16 is where they're all getting married and everything. And now 40, terribly old.
Which again, that feels like what you guys were talking about. That everybody, you know, we're more in like an 18th century lifespan.
Correct.
Whereas for me, when I first read it, and I was kind of trying to stick to that. You know, Darrow is in his early 30s. This even still worked for me, because then that would make Dancer in his late 70s.
And I love
which would still be old.
Yeah.
And I love whenever they do this with characters in novels or movies or any other art form here, where the character's name is kind of the exact opposite of the image that we get for him.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
The juxtaposition, if you will. Of, you know, the fact that his name is Dancer, but he's this old guy with a limp who really doesn't move very well.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I didn't pick up on that. That's really good. Yeah. I like the fact that Harmony is really ambivalent about this entire thing. She's flippant about Eo's death, right? Even almost in some ways condescending. But I like this because it's almost like these stages of grief thing, and Darrow should be just completely mired in self-pity, but because he's like hammered almost immediately with a character that is kind of such a jerk, that pity is very quickly switching to anger, you know. And I like this as a way of flipping a character's kind of mental state faster for the sake of the story.
Well,
I like it.
I like the anger and the pain that comes across here. This aspect of, why did you not just let me die?
Yeah.
He wants to be with Eo. That's all he wants.
Yeah.
And and you get this really feel here with chapters 8 and 9 of, you robbed me of this.
Yep.
Explain why you robbed me of being with my wife in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's you're totally with him, and then you get one of the biggest plot twists.
Yeah.
The reveal.
But before that, I think you get a very big kind of play on who Darrow is as a character.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's this test of intelligence. Dancer places a bowl before Darrow with 2 cards, and he's got to pick a card. If he picks the Reaper Sai, he loses, and if he picks a Lamb, he wins. The thing is, both are Sais, right? So Darrow quickly grabs one, eats it, shoves it in his mouth, and eats it, right? And says, flip over the other card. Well, it's a Sai, right? He's like, oh, well, then I ate the correct card, right? And that immediately sets up that Darrow can very quickly sense when games are being played and does not play by the rules.
That's a good catch. It's okay.
Like he never plays by the rules, and he never will throughout the rest of this book, right?
No, and he didn't before. He's a hell diver. We had the whole thing at the beginning when he messed up his hand jumping out of the drill. Is he doesn't play by the rules, and so we get this. It is this whole, the test. It is the whole, do you want the blue pill or the red pill? It's just no. Screw you! I don't want to play your game. What's going on?
Right. I like that. I'm gonna make my own game. I'm gonna take your game and make it my game.
Yeah, right.
And I love it. I love it. So Darrow. Now this is what you were talking about, Luke. Right? Dancer takes Darrow to the surface.
Yes.
I love this that it's a room that's got that wood floors and carpet. He's never seen wood floor, like wood. Yeah. Wood floors and carpet.
Stone
There's
and metal.
deer carved into the wall, right?
Yeah.
And
Mars is terraformed.
Great reveal. I mean, I can hear drums beating in my ears, I have written in my notes at this point, because he goes up to the windows, right? And what's out the window?
A beautiful terraformed planet
with a bunch of drunk golds flying around. It's a boots.
Yeah.
You're gonna BUI doing that.
Yeah, no. I actually love this thing. I don't know if this is what he was going for, and this is maybe weirdly me, because as a child, I was one of those kids that was forced I shouldn't say forced, because I didn't mind watching it, but you know how like every Easter on TV the 10 Commandments comes on, and my mom would always be like, we're all popping popcorn and watching the 10 Commandments, Bobby, right? And so we'd watch it. This is what I feel. It's like almost the scene where Moses realizes that he is not an Egyptian, that he's an Israelite, only in reverse, where he is not a slave, that he has been, his people have been a slave. I see him almost standing there as this dirty...
You're not a hero, you're a slave.
Yeah, this dirty person, right, a miner standing in front of this window, like, as his world falls apart around him. But I can feel, like, the drum beats of, like, what's coming. Like, I know he is going to become
snap.
Yeah, and I'm like, I know where this rise is going, and I'm super stoked about it, right?
And I went back to old Sci-Fi.
Okay.
With this, because this is completely, and yes, we're on Mars, and I understand, but this was Total Recall.
Yes,
this was Total Recall. And I'm talking like Asimov, Piers Anthony, Total Recall. Yeah. Before the Schwarzenegger movie, before the remake, before that, I'm going back to the actual books where it is, oh my God, the air on Mars is breathable.
Yeah. No. But again, if we're reading this book and we're referencing back to things like Total Recall, the actual book, this is what's showing what's so good about the writing here, is that the stuff that's being referenced to, or if he's pulling, ideas and tropes from things, it's all the best things you can pull from.
I will say though, I'll go one negative point on this. How do the terrorists have the penthouse?
I don't get that either. I don't know how that hasn't been discovered.
So on a quick side note, they did come out with a prequel comic recently.
Really?
It's called The Sons of Ares.
Okay.
I haven't read it.
Oh wait, yeah, I
saw
have
that.
it. Yeah, there's like 4 issues out.
There's 4 or so as of this time. I'm not sure. It might explain it in there. Listeners, if you know, please let us know.
Yes.
But, hey, we got to get ourselves
and again,
coffee.
You know what?
And again, going to go back to the Sons of Ares thing.
Yep.
I do give Pierce huge credit here for going with the classic spelling of Ares.
Yeah.
No I.
Good catch. I feel like he does know his mythology. I don't know anything about, but he did a lot of research for this. It feels like, because he gets all of this right. Mm-hmm. Maybe this is what he liked. Maybe in high school he was the Greek god.
We would have been good friends.
Yeah. Well, I have heard he's a huge Star Wars fan. So
Star Wars. Anyway, the town is called Yorkton.
Yes.
Mars is already habitable. This is just destroying Darrow.
Yeah. Right.
We get this like it's like a walk through the city and sort of like a and a visualization of the colors and their places,
right?
And even like what down to like where they're allowed to go,
right?
And a slight little nod to also here too when we start get the descriptions and Dancer starts to explain things to Darrow about
like the rise of the gold,
what happens, the conquering and everything,
World versus Earth.
But I do like I do really like the fact that Darrow's father was executed because he performed a dance and because he was trying to was doing a little rebellion of his own. And then you have the uncle, and the uncle is now he's the drunken sod, and he's the drunk who keeps telling people to stay low. But on the other hand, he's the drunken sod, but he has a connection to the Sons of Ares.
Yeah. Is
Right.
it all a facade?
Yeah, exactly.
Has it been all a facade the entire time? Right. I love this. I do love this story about the rise of the Golds and how Luna rebelled.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, super cool.
That was all I had. I was just acknowledging it earlier. That was all I was saying.
And what a great story.
A nice spot there.
Yeah.
What a great story when we get into this about how there were slaves on the moon, and the slaves on the moon rebelled against the Earth because they didn't agree with how the Earth was doing things, and so they
No taxation without representation.
yes, exactly.
Right. And the Golds take over from Luna.
Throwing tea off the crater of the moon.
Off into Earth's orbit.
Right. And it also brings up how now there's high reds and low reds too. Yeah. There's the high reds who've been on the surface before. They're maintenance workers. They don't do much else. And then there's the low ones like Darrow who have no idea about any of this, and they're still stuck.
And maybe that's how that penthouse can exist. Is because there's high reds that are allowed on the surface.
And not knowing what you said before, Luke, about the lowercase to the uppercase.
Camel case.
Camel case. The camel case of the words. I just love how he uses that with the low and the high as well, because it really distinguishes. We're starting everything with lowercase. Red may have an uppercase in the middle of the word, but you're still lower than us because everything that's referred to as gold starts with a capital letter.
That's good. I like
everything that's not referred to as gold starts with a lowercase.
Oh, I like that. I really like that. Yeah. All right, but we're going into chapter 10, The Carver. I love this. Maybe Neal should have just let me hang.
Beautiful.
Dancer explains that they can't just rebel, that the empire must be taken down from within, which I like this. Again, this idea that there's this, the Sons of Ares have this larger plot that they're working
They're
towards.
not just terrorists.
No.
They have a plan. This is a revolution.
This is a rebellion.
A rebellion.
Our Luke is joining the rebellion.
But he's not good enough yet.
No, he is not. I like how every color is explained, so we get a really quick data dump here on who the colors are.
But not every color is explained.
Not all of them. The ones we need to know.
The ones we need to know about. We get more of a dump later on about the fact that there's a ton of other colors.
Yeah.
And
but right now we have this explanation of these different colors and kind of where the caste system sits here.
Yeah, right.
We've gotten more. I think up until this point, it's been reds, grays, obsidians, and golds. That's all we've gotten.
Right. And now we're introduced to like pinks and greens, and there's a bunch of them. I love that there's all these biomodifications that are in fashion, and I love the descriptions that are thrown out here. It makes me right here. It doesn't take me out of the book, but after having for the podcast looked a little bit, there's not much on Pierce Brown that I was able to read up on. But one thing that I did find through some sort of YouTube interview that he'd done with some girl was that he worked as a page for NBC.
Oh, like on TV.
And he was like, a page at NBC. So
like an old medieval page.
So I don't necessarily know.
Messiah.
I don't necessarily know where the guy grew up, but I'm kind of going I wonder if in some of this is like him, because he talked about how he would have to take stars and stuff around or whatever before the night show or whatever, and so I wonder if this is him maybe growing up in smaller town America like a red, and then all of a sudden he's thrown into Hollywood or California fast-paced life, and with the biomodifications that happen with all these, are golds is he drawing on some of his experiences working with the Hollywood elites or being around them.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what Gold Society feels like that I'm working in at NBC, and coming from Red Society, something like that. I don't know.
Well,
maybe
and not only did he work as a page for NBC, if I remember correctly here, he also worked as a page within the U.S. Senate.
Yeah, he some sort of campaign he worked for, but it's not like how college kids can do that. It was maybe something like that. I don't know what campaign it was or what who it was. I didn't delve very deeply into that.
But you're right. I like this idea of,
and maybe his round with politicians also informed him about what golds are like.
Exactly about how heartless the leaders are. About what's actually.
I'm
happening
gonna come
with the
in. I'm
peons.
gonna hit you with a little more IT facts.
Okay, what's that?
We are on the it's starting. The biomechanical revolution is starting now.
Yeah, right.
I mean, wearables are a thing now.
Yeah.
Some people are starting to experiment with implants now.
Look at what's the LASIK?
LASIK. Cochlear implants.
Yeah.
It's
like,
but I mean, even beyond, it's gone beyond that to the point where it's I'm gonna put this thing in my arm and program it in Linux.
Right.
It's this is I like the chord that this is striking with me.
But I like that his descriptions make everything kind of oddly freakish.
Yeah.
I would love to
this
see.
is not normal.
I would love to see this as a movie. Like, things are too stretched out. Things are too everything's just odd. It's
it's very grotesque,
it's almost
visual
grotesque.
to it.
And now they're going to say, well, you're going to be carved as well.
Yes.
97 people have failed, but you'll be the one who's successful.
And I love Mickey. I love this character of Mickey that's introduced here as the artist.
Yes. It works. He has his own biomods, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
But he also freaks out when Dancer comes up to him, and we understand that Mickey has this relationship with the Sons of Ares. He has this. He's done stuff for them before, and Dancer dumps out on the table these sigils. Sigils.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sigils, Mercer.
These golden sigils, which we're meant to understand are, some sort of body modification that you can see through the skin, and I'm thinking like branding, or are they some big metal thing that goes under the
I don't
skin?
know how to quite visualize these.
But Mickey kind of freaks out and goes, no.
Yep.
What do you want me to do?
Right, yeah, no, I agree.
As example on the background of my iPad, I have my example of what I think the sigils look like.
Right,
So there's the example because it's showing the different class system. Each one has a different look
That's
to
right.
it.
Yeah.
So here you've got the golds at the top, and it goes and works its way down.
Yep.
Right. If you look
That's my
up, if
picture.
you look up Red Rising, image search it. One of the few things that comes up is this pyramid. So you can see what all of that stuff looks like. But what you were saying, Klab, that he kind of freaks out about it. Mickey is a violet, which means that he's an artist. But we find out he's kind of a freaky artist. He's a carver, which means that he can biomod people. And we find out that he's done a lot of carving, and he's done it for the Sons of Ares before, trying to take people who they think are candidates to infiltrate and carve them into a gold, and none of it's worked.
But Mickey hasn't done one of these yet.
Yeah.
That's one of the things they keep bringing up is they've been using other violets, and that's why it's failed. And Mickey is the best.
The best of the
and
best.
And so we go into chapter 11, just turn mad, which is Mickey going, you guys are crazy. This is never going to work.
Yeah, but Darrow shows himself again that he's at least intelligent enough to do this by solving a cube that Mickey had been playing with.
Rubik's, maybe?
Hey, Rubik's cube.
I didn't know. I have this.
I would love to.
I have this
future cube.
Correct. I have this great picture of Mickey there, and it talks about Mickey being a carver, and so he's very dexterous, and he's sitting there, kind of half solving this cube as he's talking to them and paying attention to the cube, and he sets it to the side, and Darrow just finally gets sick and tired of talking to him, picks up the cube, flips through it, and like a savant right away, and that's what convinces Mickey. Okay, maybe you can do this.
Rubik's Cube tournament, guys.
You know what the bad. Maybe this was a good thing and a bad thing for me. But when I read this chapter, I saw it like a movie, but I love Guardians of the Galaxy, but I saw it as a Guardians of the Galaxy moment where he's sitting there trying to solve this cube. Darrow walks up, has his conversation, solves the cube, drops it him, and then like gives him a look and kind of walks off. And the song, "Oh Mickey, you're so funny," started playing. You know, I'm like, oh, this could be like kind of Guardians of the Galaxy feeling in some ways. But yeah, we want,
and all the while this is happening like in the back room of a club with
which I love with CD clubs
with Mickey's like modded pink girls like dancing around him
with wings.
With wings. They don't work, but they're wings.
Might I say it is following the same beats in some ways of Star Wars, with a young farm kid / miner leaving the farm and at this point entering the cantina. You know, a club. No, I know, but very tenuous.
You know, I definitely was.
I see what you're saying.
I was not misty-eyed. You know, when Steve
Tashi Station.
Yeah, when Steve 3PO was getting his oil bath. You know,
no.
This hits you hard. It hits you fast, and now it's mystery.
Yep, exactly. and now it's mystery, and so we leave this CD club and we get to chapter 12, the carving. I love the fact that the plastic surgeons are referred to as carvers.
It is. I love that too, Klab. You're
gross.
Nailing
exactly.
It's gross, but at the same time, plastic surgery to me a lot of times is like that. You will see people who have done it and they don't look real. There's something off about them, and I love the fact instead of plastic surgery that you'd call it a carver, because that's what a lot of people who have done it look like. They look like they've been carved, and I love that imagery. That
and as we go into these next chapters here, after Mickey finally agrees to do it, I love these descriptions of what he's actually doing. The increasing bone density, the increasing muscle, the tearing the muscles to increase the muscle mass.
And I like how I don't know exactly how to feel about Mickey. Like, I'm like, am I supposed to like him? Am I supposed to not like him? Because he's kind of an off-putting kind of character.
He's kind of crazy.
Yeah, he's creepy to me. He's almost like a Frankenstein in some ways.
And at first look at this, I'm like, okay, so the guy's an artist. Okay, so is he the dude from Nip Tuck?
That's good. That's a good reference. A good reference.
Yeah.
Where are we going here? And then we get a little bit later on, and I'm like, is he Francis from Deadpool? Again, like you said, Bob, we don't know how we're supposed to feel about him until all of a sudden he starts talking about his prize and you're my boy. And
a little bit of hubris going on.
Yes.
How he's going to be carving a gold, actually.
He's going to be carving gold. I like the fact that Eo... that Darrow has a lot of problem with this, though, that he's doing this because he wants to infiltrate, wants to keep Eo's dream alive, but the fact that Eo wouldn't recognize him anymore is really tough for him. And I like that there's these little callbacks, that emotion that we've had between him and Eo.
Exactly. Nothing is mine anymore.
Yeah.
The only thing that is mine are my memories and my thoughts. It does keep making references to his hands. And the fact that as a Helldiver, he had the increased dexterity in his hands, and that's one of the reasons why he can become a gold here. Is he already had the increase? Yeah. He already had a lot of increased dexterity to be able to handle a lot of these things.
His like predisposed like IQ and his dexterity. You know, that really helped him. Mickey carves him. And this is kind of like where I'm really starting to pick up on the Bloody Dam. Yeah. This sort of like universe-centric curse word.
You know, I like when they come up with a universe-centric curse word.
There's a spot later where I'll get into that a bit.
Okay.
But one of the things, we're talking about Eo from Klab here. In the very first paragraph of this chapter, Darrow dies twice.
He
dies twice.
That's right.
And
the carving.
when he's dead during this 2 weeks of coma, I like this moment. It's a dream. He's with Eo. He's happy.
Right.
It's wonderful for him.
He's laying in the field again.
And then I woke up and all I felt was stitches and pain.
Yeah.
He's in this happy moment and it is torn back away.
Right.
And it keeps going.
There's this
and
great
going
thing where
it's worse.
Her face is in front of him, and all of a sudden he wakes up and there's Mickey smoking a cigarette. It's
it's all very creepy.
I love the use of burners.
They call them burners. I like that.
Burners. I love the use of burners.
A lot of times, a future kind of setting can be made or broken on what the author decides on for terms for things.
I will say,
he does choose cool things.
I'm a much bigger fan of burners than death sticks.
Yeah. That's along the nose.
We don't bring up the prequels around here.
I don't know. Klab's a big fan of Padawan.
Yeah, he does say Padawan. We should extra
because I'm old.
Youngling. It's.
But then we go into an 80s training montage.
With Harmony, who, during this time, though, she's been finding donors for parts to make Darrow.
Again, Frankenstein.
Which, with Harmony and with the descriptions we've gotten of Harmony and how she starts treating Darrow I don't really think they're donors.
True.
No.
Donors. The sons of Ares can do whatever they want.
I kind of have the feeling that there's a bunch of missing goals.
Yeah, that might be
Strong.
Hey, don't worry about it.
They were donors. And we also find out that Mickey has this girl, one of many he has, named Evie. Yep. Right? She's a girl with wings. I really like her. She's a pink, which we find out are kind of like they're bred for pleasure. They're the hooker class.
Yeah,
they are.
She's a nice lady.
Hey, she's a nice girl.
Evie's a nice lady with the way they portray everything here.
I really like her.
I really like her. There's some where it's supposed to be, okay, they're the pleasure class, but this was a person who Mickey took her and made her into something different. Yeah. She didn't want to be, from what we know.
Right.
But,
and I love that.
This completely, for me, this is Priss's class from Blade Runner.
Oh yeah, good reference.
The pleasure bot.
Yeah,
it's almost like pinks don't exist naturally.
Yeah, it's almost like they're robotic in some ways.
Yeah, and Priss in Blade Runner is she's originally the pleasure clone. She's originally the pleasure android.
Okay,
right.
And then she ends up using those skills later on to kill people.
Right.
Jeez.
Go ahead.
I love here that, again, surrounded by all this, again, we're with this carver, and you get this feeling like he's surrounded by all what should be like extremely beautiful, kind of pleasurable experiences, all these pinks and everything else. But Darrow, again, is thrown back to Eo and saying how she is beautiful, the crude beauty of nature, instead of this like perfect, elastic, stretched kind of concept. I like that he keeps thinking of Eo and that she's beautiful, but like this crude beauty of nature, but that's preferable to this artificial kind of fake beauty.
Exactly. It's the true beauty. It's the true beauty of the true beauty of the working woman versus the plastic Barbie doll from California.
Yeah, right.
Okay, and we get post-carving here where Darrow now begins to train.
Right.
And not only is he training his body to get used to the body now that his bone density is bigger, now that his muscles are bigger, he also has to train his mind to think like a gold. He has to change his speech pattern.
Yeah. With accent, yes.
And right now I'm not thinking of any specifics, but this feels, again, like a lot of like 80s movies and everything else that I've seen, right? We went through the training montage, like the breakdown, the training montage, now you've got to learn how to act.
This is like some weird like juxtaposition on the taking the nerdy girl, taking out her ponytail and taking her glasses off.
This is totally Gattaca for me.
Who references Gattaca ever?
This is totally Gattaca. This is the dude who was born into the working class who found a way to work in the upper class, but he has to change so much about it.
This should go down in podcast history as the first and only podcast that will ever reference Gattaca to anything. And that's awesome.
Here's to you, Klab.
to Klab.
It's Ethan Hawke. Come on.
What?
Okay.
That carries no weight.
I do have to say, though, this...
It's Ethan Hawke.
That was really harsh.
I'm sorry.
We do have, bringing it back here, we do have this new pink named Mateo.
Right.
And Mateo, one of the first things that happens, he gets into, you're not saying the right words. You can't say bloody damn anymore. Now you have to say gory damn, because that's the higher lexicon that you would have.
Right,
and
I like that.
At this point, we have Darrow still pretty flippant about things, and he tries to make him mad. So he slaps him and holds something to his neck. Darrow's kind of panicking right now a little bit. What is this? This is a blade. All I have to do is think, and it will cut right through you. Later on, we find out it's a shampoo bottle. And he's threatening him with a shampoo bottle.
But I like...
And Darrow, what's shampoo?
What is shampoo? My comments on that sentence.
What is shampoo?
And the introduction of Mateo here, too, I will say, okay, I'm on board with this because, all right, we have a male pleasure bot, essentially, here. We have a male pink. He's a male pleasure slave. And everybody's just cool with it. I will give Pierce here credit for just, okay, it's the future. Everybody's kind of cool with everything.
Yeah. Right? You know what else I love here is I love this razor. The razor is the coolest weapon out of this universe. I love this idea of that it kind of hangs there like a whip, but then, you know, with a biological impulse, it instantly becomes this, like, just razor that can cut through anything. This, to me, is a lightsaber. This is his version of the lightsaber, but
that's a stretch.
In some way, a stretch? Are you kidding me? Something that they carry and then instantly can appear into a razor that can cut through anything? That is a lightsaber, except that it's real, right? It's physical matter instead of an energy sword. But if you're going to create something like that, this is the way you do it. I'm not knocking it for being a lightsaber, but the guy's a huge Star Wars fan. He wanted to have lightsabers in his book. He made razors. This is cool.
This is a whip sword. See, my problem with this
is
I always wanted...
It is a whip sword.
Yeah, I always wanted more description because we keep mentioning razor. The book keeps mentioning razors. There's different things that go on with the razors throughout the rest of the book. I still have no idea how I'm supposed to picture this thing.
I know what I had in my head, but I agree. I don't know exactly like handle and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I gotta know what all that looks like.
I wanted more of like, does it have a hilt? Are we? Can you Indiana Jones with it, or is it just?
How do they carry him on their hip?
Wrap around?
Like, does it look like Indiana Jones, like a whip hanging off their side,
and then all of a sudden it becomes a sword when you hit the right button?
That is true. I don't really know. We need to get those comic books so we can see what they look like.
Luke, get on that.
Yeah,
I'm on it.
Order them. Amazon right now.
And at this point also, Dancer tries to change Darrow's name.
I love this.
He tries to change it to something. We need you to sound more gold. You are the only one. You're still poor, but we need to change your name. Darrow's having none of it.
I like that. Yeah, he changes it, and I put it in all my notes. I'm like, big name change coming here. And there's like, oh wait, no, it doesn't stick. Never mind. wait. Not Darrow Andromedus.
Yes,
we're going right back to Caius Andromedus. You know what? Which I'm really glad he didn't do, because I was like, oh crap, Caius, and then we have a Cassius coming up. I'm like, I would never keep that straight. And luckily we changed back to Darrow.
And if you think about it, and if you think about from where Darrow's coming from too, I think Darrow is intelligent enough here to understand that, okay, if we really change his name here, that's another opportunity for a slip up later on. Yes, there is the whole noble aspect of, it's my father gave me this name, I'm going to keep the name that my father gave me. But, okay, somebody might slip.
Right.
Somebody might slip later on and call me the wrong name.
And so are we meant to believe here, because I like this though, if this is true, the sons of Ares killed an entire family in order to create his backstory, right?
Yes.
They killed the Andromedus family.
Really? Yeah. You went with
I think they killed them all.
Oh, see, I went with some weird accident.
That they just went with it. You know what?
I believe them when they talked about a weird accident.
Okay.
It's like, oh my God, this is why this is the perfect time for this to happen right now, is because this family just died,
and so we'll use them,
and so we can steal their identity and take this name.
Right. I'm with Bob here on this one because it says soon the family will be dead in a shipping accident.
Does it say soon?
It does say soon. Yeah,
okay.
It's all in that same spot.
So
I think it's them planning. Well, it's going to be a shipping accident.
Yeah.
And
again, but this
somehow survived.
This paints the sons of Ares as they're on that gray line where they are not really doing everything right in this quest for liberation. Right? I mean, they are willing to take innocent lives because you got to presume there's probably children, right, on that ship that they're destroying.
Well,
right?
And so we run into chapter 14 here.
Yes, Andromedus.
And in running into chapter 14, we start to learn about Mateo is teaching Darrow here to dance like a gold, and we later learn that, and we start to learn here that the dancing has to do with fighting and it has to do with weapons.
Right.
It's super cool.
And it's super cool because it goes back because Darrow's going, well, no, this is the dance that, I learned as a red because we learned to dance. And it totally goes back to South American capoeira for me.
Oh, yeah, capoeira.
Which capoeira was taught to different South American tribes as a dance because they didn't want the overlords to realize that it was actually a fighting style.
Yep.
And you know what it's doing for me, and this is going to come up again when we get to the testing and the institute part, is this is also creating, I think, in Darrow's mind, the Golds were supposed to be this completely separate group from us. But wait, I know these dances. And then when we get to the institute, hey, wait, they're not as perfect as I thought they were. Like these are just people. Who are ruling over everybody.
And the part about this too with the dances, look who he learned the dances from.
His uncle.
Drunk uncle. Drunk uncle is teaching him these dances almost
Drunkle.
like he started at a young age knowing, okay, this one has a chance. Let's see if I can train him early and see if it turns out. Little too
forward.
Is that the word I'm looking for?
A lot of foreshadowing.
Yeah, there is a lot. There is.
But,
I don't know, but that's what I'm starting to feel.
And so,
hey, we got to learn to ride a horse. And I wanted to ask you guys, how are you picturing these horses? Because I didn't know. We're on future Mars. The gravity is lower, and everything else. Are these
weaker looking horses?
Yeah.
Thinner.
So I'm like, should we view them as horses that we think are they changed?
We're
in the era of carvers that can do anything.
Yeah.
See, I went the other way. I went that. Since the gravity is lower here, in order for the horses to be able to function as horses, they have to be stockier.
And heavier to bring
Well,
down. Yeah, I don't know.
They don't have to work as hard, so they don't need as much muscle mass.
Right, so they could be much smaller and be able to,
I don't know. I did get a feeling here,
longer legs.
Longer legs.
Right.
That they are bigger.
They
in some ways,
skinnier.
ways, they are bigger.
Okay.
Than Earth horses.
Yeah,
And so when we have this whole him riding a horse thing out here, in the wilderness, and he has this meeting with this young lady.
Yeah.
Oh, must.
But you know what? Before you bring it up though, this is where I put in my notes. I'm like. One thing I do know is that this has been optioned for movie rights. This gonna be an expensive movie. Because if you're gonna do it right, almost everything has to be touched by CGI. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like, especially once you get to the golds and everybody, they have all been carved. Everything on this surface has been changed. So if you're going to do it the way it's written, it's all going to be, stretched or CGI'd in one way or the other, which is cool. I hope they do it.
And I like the fact that he can't ride a horse.
Why would he though?
Why would he? He's never seen it before.
He's a hell diver. He's a hell diver. He's been riding this drill the whole time.
Exactly. He's done all these dexterous things. He now is learning. He's done all these things with Mateo and all these things.
He's good at everything.
He's good at everything. He's not perfect.
And
he's not going to be your perfect hero here to be able to just jump into the gold because he sucks at riding a horse.
He's good at riding a hell diver. It's a machine.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's riding an animal. Something that fights back. It's not totally under his control.
Oh, but no, I think it's.
No, yeah, we're not saying that as bad. It's a good character moment. That's a good character.
Yeah, exactly.
Horses terrify him. He even says it there. This is the most terrifying beast I've ever seen.
I would wholeheartedly agree. I'm not a fan of horses. I'm not a fan of riding horses.
I'm on board with that.
Those things are way too big. Way too big.
We're a bunch of dirty mining town kids. We don't ride horses.
Yes. Well, I mean,
I tell you what, give me a cat and I can drive that sucker through there.
I can milk one.
I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
Mustang, who we meet at this point on his ride,
but not by name.
But no, we don't know her. She's just a laughing horse girl.
And calls him a pixie.
Yes,
He's still my heart.
Which we find out is kind of it's the derogatory name for the pinks.
Yeah, pixies. Yeah,
it's you little pixie.
Which again, because they're subservient, right?
Yes.
They're like made or bred or whatever to be subservient and not really have a will of their own, just be pleasure for pleasure. No, will of their own. That's why that's a put down, I think, right? So, but then we're on to chapter 15, right? The testing.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep. Again, I like this. Darrow takes this test. He's really good at extrapolational thinking, which is exactly like what he did with eating that card, right? Yep. They throw out kind of a thing about like which side of a fish has the most scales.
Left or right?
Left or right, and it's the... What is the
outside.
answer? The outside. I didn't really like that. I thought that was a little weak.
Yeah,
I thought that was a weak
that's
thing.
weird.
I thought the eating of the card was pretty strong. If there's one... This is my first time actually pointing out what I think is a weakness, and I guess it's just this little thing about the fish. Dug a little deeper maybe for that one. I didn't like the fish scale thing.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think they could have. I think.
What color was George Washington's big white horse?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Exactly.
That's what
Yeah.
sounds
Who's buried in
yeah.
Grants too?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Who's buried in Grant's tube? Yeah.
Hello?
Something that your like annoying uncle would come up and tell you at 4th of July, like while you're trying to get guacamole and chips. Like, dang it, there comes Uncle Jim.
I do like being in Darrow's head where he's been prepping for these tests and he's been doing all this.
Yep.
And there are points within here where he's like, this isn't that hard.
Yeah, he's good. He's very good at this, right?
And from my standpoint, teaching a math class, maybe it causes a little different thinking here. There are times where we'll go through something and the kids are set in only one way of doing it. Only one way of doing it. This is showing he's thinking outside and thinking other options. Like example, normally you see this, how many sides does a circle have?
1.
No, it's 2, the inside and the outside.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's on that line where you got to think a little bit more
Outside
about
the
how
box.
these riddles go and outside the box.
Well,
And this is the thinking
I
he's
agree.
showing. So
Yeah,
I'm
I see-
okay
I see
with
that.
it.
I see it.
And that's how I saw it.
I see that.
And he's not a prince.
Correct.
He's not one of these prince boys who's
Yeah.
been sitting eating peeled grapes from the pinks in the house. He's had to problem solve his entire life.
Yeah.
Good image. There.
He's had to problem solve
It's the only way he's
all
alive.
of these different things within being a
Right.
hell diver and with really, for the sake of cliche, thinking outside the box.
Right.
And so that's why he's able. That's what I took from this is he's lived the hard life. He's had to think outside the box in order to survive, in order to do all these different things while he's been mining.
Right.
That he's so much better than the guys who've been eating from their golden spoons for their entire life.
Right. I do like all this. I think this sets up exactly, again, it's driving home who he is, about how we should expect him in these books to constantly do things outside of the box and make us go, what? What is he doing? Right?
Which sets up for later on.
Later on in the book.
foreshadowing for
Yeah.
later on when we're done.
We meet a lot of characters during this testing spot, and one of the moments I like, back before getting into teaching programs, we had to go in, take a test, sit in this one room by ourselves with all these other people. Sometimes people are annoying. In this chapter, there's a girl, she's sitting there with a stylus. I'm sitting here with an Apple Pencil right now, and she's sitting there just tapping it, and just keeps going. And then all of a sudden, he's upset, and
it disappears.
And all of a sudden, she can't figure out where it went. She has no idea. And she can't figure out what magic trick happened. Darrow is that good with his reflexes still being there. And
Yeah,
but it's a good character moment, too, because
he's
one
already
girl,
that good, and he's modified, so now he's just like...
Now he's super.
And see, I didn't go with that. He is that good, and now he's modified. But I also felt this was maybe walking by the tin pots and taking an apple off, taking an apple off their table or something like that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And one girl, though, after she sees this, she actually sees him and calls him a cutter. Calls him a cutter because she thinks he is sabotaging this other girl's test. And
you stole her pencil.
And they even bring in here, it's Machiavellian. Machiavelli still exists in this spot afterwards. Just completely ruthless. And that's what this girl thinks about him now is, okay, he's going to be in trouble. And we later find out he's actually already met this girl who called him a cutter.
Right.
Mustang
Sally.
No, not Sally. No, not Sally.
So we got we also meet Cassius, right? Bologna. Or Bellona.
Not like bologna.
Not bologna cheese.
And let me just tell you that I love Cassius.
Yep.
Cassius. I love Cassius because he's cocky as all get out.
As all golds are.
As all golds are.
Yep.
He is the pretty boy. He is the one, but he's kind of the approachable pretty boy a little bit here.
Yeah. I think in this chapter I like him.
I feel like it's setting him up.
Yeah, I think I knew he was going to be the bad guy in some ways. Like,
it's the name. It's the name. Cassius.
Yeah, I mean we'll know it by the end.
That's jerky bad guy name.
Well, if you throw it back to Roman,
I was going to say Cassius and Julius Caesar.
I
knew that was coming, and I knew that was
that had to have been my subconscious. Subconscious was like,
yep.
I will get behind. The little bit of the cocky pretty boy character who actually is maybe able to make friends with.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yes. He's not from the beginning like showing up with his leather jacket and his gang with sunglasses, aviators on, and
Hey nerd, where's your lunch money?
What's your name, Darrow? Okay. Right? I get it.
So we meet Cassius. We meet Julian.
Julian is Cassius's brother.
Right, Julian, Cassius' brother, and we find out Darrow kind of he likes Julian. Like they kind of strike up a quick kind of, in some ways, friendship, right?
Yep.
So we find out that there's 3 types of people who graduate from this institute. People who are called peerless scarred, and then the graduates and the shamed. So to be a peerless scarred is like the top of the top. Most people are just graduates, and then if not, you're the shamed.
And I want to kind of jump. It's not really jumping back because all this is happening at the same time.
Right.
Info down. Is I like this friendship that starts to develop here a little bit between Julian, Cassius, and Darrow.
Yeah, I do too.
And part of the reason I like it is because we get a couple drops here from Darrow going, I like these guys. These guys. Wait, no, I don't like these guys. These guys, I hate golds. They're horrible.
Yeah.
What I'm getting here with this whole peerless scarred.
Yeah.
This is, and we kind of got it with the Lunar Rebellion, Luna's Rebellion. Golds aren't just the ruling class because they have all the money.
Yeah.
They are the ruling class because of this forced Darwinism.
Oh, exactly.
It's we are the best because we are the best.
Yeah.
Anybody who is born from us who is weak is just cut from the herd.
Well, I like the fact that we find out too that there's tiers.
Yeah.
We heard about high reds and low reds. Now we find out that there's tiers in the golds.
Yeah.
And even the lower golds they call bronzies, which I love.
Yeah, I do. I love that too.
It's like half-breed.
That's really good.
But I love what he sets up with that entire idea of Darwinism like you brought in. Because I think we as readers go into it thinking, the golds are a bunch of end of the Roman Empire bloated kind of sycophants who are just,
bring me some more grapes.
And this adds this whole other layer. No, the training they go through. They are
actually
tough.
the best.
They are the best.
Yeah,
which is crazy. That's actually in some ways not what you would do when setting up your empire or your big bad guys, right?
One thing I want to point out here before we get a little too far is Darrow has never met Cassius and Julian at the same time at this point.
Right,
yes.
He hasn't met Julian until chapter 16. I mean, we brought him up a little bit there. But right now, Darrow has met Cassius, who he also explains that the girl who sneered at him was Antonia, who also made fun of him out while riding. So now he actually has a name for her. And now in chapter 16, the Institute.
Yeah, let's get to it.
We're going to meet this new character, Julian, who we just talked about a little bit there.
Yes.
And I will say, I know...
Julian's refreshing.
Well, Julian's very refreshing. And I want to go back to this idea just for a quick second here with the golds. With this, forced Darwinism aspect. I know it's just because we're really close to the release of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. But I in my head, the Solari are very much the golds.
Oh, interesting.
And they're specifically bred for this purpose. They're specifically going in here. So I literally did see the golds as gold, as having that bit of a gold shimmer to them.
Interesting.
Because the reds are all gingers.
Yeah.
There is that.
I did just take it as the hair color.
Yeah.
That is one thing, I guess, if we're going back to this, if this becomes a movie, I don't know how much I'd love that if I could watch.
It's got to be subtle.
Oh, it's got to be subtle. Yeah, I don't know. It's got to be subtle. Yeah, because by the time this whole Institute stuff starts happening and they start fighting and everything else, I kind of want them to look pretty brutal, and I don't know if gold skin would do that.
But they're
just fire.
No, I know that's kind of the hair.
We'll get there because I want to make because there's a couple comments when we get into the testing in the Institute here.
Right.
And you want to take?
Yeah, so we're into chapter 16, the Institute. Let's get through it. So they, shuttle right over. There's all kinds of tears that are shed, right? Darrow scores the highest. He only gets one wrong.
And on that, they think he cheats.
Right.
They think he even found a way to cheat.
Because he's that good.
Because he was that good.
I like that.
Yeah.
Only missed one question.
And this is where we get to what you were talking about, Luke, is because the Augustus, who's the leader of Mars, gives a speech to the society, and he says that there are three parts, right? That a society and its three parts: savagery, ascendance, and decadence, right? And to keep a society strong, like they know. What I like about these golds is they know they're on top, and they know that is a tipping point.
They're not just fat cats.
Yeah, they know that at any point their society could slip into decadence, and so to keep that, they need to keep up this Darwinian, play. I love this idea because I do. I like it because all of a sudden, who I should be like very black and white golds that I should just blanketly hate are instantly have depths and layers to them. Yeah. Right? And I'm like, oh, wait, okay, what I thought about them is not what I thought.
They're just the prissy rich kids.
Not
all of them are.
No, yeah.
A good 90% of them are just these bad
Mamba
Jamba warrior, like Spartan class.
Right, yeah.
Because they have to be, because they kill anybody who isn't. Like, I mean, I would, the only other, like, word I have for that is Spartan.
And to give... again, not to criticize Pierce too much, but with a lot of the different young adult literature, and I know why the comparisons come here.
Right.
This is completely the districts from Hunger Games.
Okay.
I thought maybe, Houses of Harry Potter.
Houses of Harry Potter?
House Mars, House Ares, House.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
But you know what?
Hey, you jumped ahead early on stuff too. Why can't I? I'm just going to put that out.
You know what, Neal, though? I think you're right, because the little bit of backstory that I've read on Pierce, one of his two biggest fandoms that I found were Star Wars and Harry Potter. Big influences in his life. So maybe, not saying that authors like one-to-one, but this is the stuff that goes into your mind, and this is the stuff that can come back out.
Well, if you actually go into the books of the Hunger Games, it talks about how the first 3-4 districts breed their children to be the warriors for the games so that they can get the prizes later.
Okay. See, I've never read the Hunger Games and only watched the first movie, and I didn't care. So, this is all fresh to me. So, I guess, I think if you're mired and have read a lot of that kind of post-apocalyptic,
I will say it's similar, and that came out before that, and that came out right before this. It got popular. But I give Pierce credit because he does it better.
Yeah, he does. He does. It makes sense. Yeah. In Hunger Games, it's like, you do have the districts that breed to win, but there's also the fat cats who sit on top.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you know what? The fat cats who sit on top here are the Spartans who will destroy you.
I'm going to throw it out here that I do feel like, the comparisons to Hunger Games are definitely fair. But I think sometimes when an author comes out, then he gets unfairly compared to what has come before, and probably a lot of reasons why this was greenlit by a publishing company is because something like Hunger Games comes out, and publishing houses are scrambling to find other books like it that they can push into the works. And thank God somebody grabbed this one and pushed it in, because this, like you said, Klab, is better.
Well, and I'll tell you, Bob, we go, and when you look at pop culture literature, we go in about a 30 to 40 year cycle on the dystopian novels.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so we're now at the about 3/4 of the way through this.
They'll start falling off.
They'll start falling off, and it harkens all the way back into stuff we've talked about on the podcast before with the pulp novels and the pulp things that were in the newspapers. Goes through Brave New World, which was one of the ones that really grabbed this. Okay, we're going to have this caste class society. Right. So I could also make the connections back to Brave New World that I'm making 100.
Sure, no, you're right. You're definitely right. There's nothing new under the sun. It all just kind of keeps boiling back.
But I like how Pierce does it.
I do love how Pierce does it. Right.
So we also meet one of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Neal.
Good. Thank you. There are three things.
If you're going to be in this podcast, you have to learn to fight for your space.
it's Darwinian.
Forced Darwinism.
Okay. There are three things that I want to go over that we kind of skipped over on our big jump towards the Institute.
Okay. We get excited. We get excited.
I know. I understand. But the three things. One, right before he leaves to the Institute, Mateo does something that's really nice for him.
Mm-hmm.
He steals his wedding ring.
Oh, yeah.
He steals Darrow's wedding ring. You can't have this. That's a terrible idea. But here's a symbol of your house.
I like this.
Just say her name. Says her name.
Up.
There's a
Hemanthus.
There's
blossom.
the petal.
We've kind of skipped over
they
this.
have-
Skipped over the Hemanthus thing.
There's the petal in there that was from Eo. So now he has a part with her.
Yeah.
And that really touches him going into it.
And the Hemanthus is a big deal throughout this entire book.
The blood rose.
The blood rose.
Yes.
Right. It's a big deal.
So sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
No,
There's
you're
one.
good.
No. 2, he meets Julian for the first time now. Meets Julian, and they're talking. Julian's a pretty nice guy. What's your game? Blood chess, grave cross? No, I like full war. It's almost like he's talking about baseball teams. Well, what team do you support? I support Northtown. Oh no! How can you support that? Yorkton. It's almost like they're soccer hooligans.
Exactly.
No, this is not happening.
That's
you can't like this team.
That's exactly where
where
I went on that too. Okay, they're European soccer fans.
Yes, there's
Which club do you support?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
You
you can't
can't
support that.
We'll never get along.
With an added layer of you're a gold. What?
Yeah. Wait a minute. You're a Bears fan?
Yeah.
How can you be a Bears fan? You're a gold. You're supposed to be a Packers fan.
You're on 2 right now?
I was on 2, yes.
Okay.
And 3. He meets probably one of the
that's
most
what I was
fun
next.
This is what I was waiting for.
story.
This is what I was waiting for.
Luke loves this guy. We have Julian, who gets this guy kind of, perturbed a little bit because they're so friendly to each other. This guy is, he will say what's on his mind and he doesn't care what happens, to the point where Julian almost challenges to a duel over it.
Yes. Good old...
And his name is?
Severo.
Yeah.
I love
Severo.
I like
Throughout
him.
this entire novel, I love Severo.
Yep.
He just kind of has that scrappy quality to him that
He's a little guy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and
Scrawny
I love the fact that he is not. Even Darrow. Darrow looks like your typical gold. He's got the stature of your typical gold. He was made. Well, he was made.
Now he's made into a gold.
To look like your average gold. Severo's the little guy.
Yep. Right.
He's the smaller guy. He's very quick-witted. He's super freaking sarcastic.
Yep.
Right.
And there is art out there that fans must have done.
Yeah, there is Severo art. Yeah.
So good.
Really good.
Just exactly what I was picturing.
Yeah, exactly. No, I really like
That
Severo.
is,
We also meet Titus, who's this thick-necked giant, which I really like him too. Again, I love this setting up of this team, right? Like, there's all of these characters coming into play. They're going to be with you probably a lot of the ways through the rest of the novel. And I love how different they are. I love this bringing together of these guys.
And I knew I was going to hate Titus from the beginning. I hated Titus from the beginning.
It's the name.
But
He's a thick neck.
But it speaks here to how Pierce is writing, and not to fawn too much over Pierce, but he does put in this archetype of the brute.
Yeah.
And so much in pop culture within the last 15, 20 years, we've had that archetype of the lovable brute. And I like the fact that Titus right away comes off as he's not the lovable brute.
Yeah,
He's the beepity beep beep.
Right, yeah, I agree. And I like this. This is, again, hearkening back to Gladiator.
So we get to 17, the draft.
Yep.
Where they start lining them up and they talk to the proctors about the different houses.
Yes.
And each proctor represents one of the different Roman names for the gods. We have the Jupiter guy. We have, where's the next one who shows up? Apollo. And it keeps going. And they do almost little interviews to see how the candidates
where you
will fit.
This is where you're getting your Harry Potter from.
This is where I was getting towards that Harry Potter. This is the sorting ceremony.
Yeah.
But drafting.
I like the fact that he's using your Greek and Roman names here,
Yeah.
but he's mixing them.
Yes.
Yep.
He's not using just fully Greek names or just the fully Roman names for the houses.
There's some weird it is some weird Harry Potter house sorting ceremony mixed with the NFL draft because it matters which number you are drafted.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Darrow is drafted 10th.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe that. When it got to that point, as paranoid as Darrow is becoming, and all of the stuff that's thrown in there in the beginning, I'm like, oh, he's going to be a low draft. He's going to be a low draft, and then he's finally drafted. I'm like, okay, so he was finally picked in the middle somewhere. Something was going, and then it gives that big reveal at the end. That was a huge reveal to me. He was so stressed out, and it was okay. You were 10th, dude.
Yeah.
Out of 1,000.
Out of 1,000. But, I do love that he throws it out as 10th. Instead of going with that, like, he's going to continue this, he's way above everybody else, and make him first, or something like that.
We do get a lot of these, like,
still
very,
buried in there a little bit, and I like that.
We do get a lot of these, like, very grandiose visions of this institute.
Right.
Yep. It's very tall. It's very. It was very tall. It was very white. It was very marble. It was very expensive.
I'm always seeing kind of futuristic versions of Rome.
Futuristic Rome. Yeah.
Futuristic Rome is what I'm always seeing. And
I was so dreading as they're going through this draft and they're looking at the different stats of each of the characters, and I'm like, great. Okay, so he was drafted. Okay, it's kind of cool. He was drafted 10th of 1,000. All right, he's going to Mars. I can get behind that. I see, he's technically part of the Sons of Ares.
Yeah.
Convenient. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I'm like, are we going to go to class now?
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Yeah, I did not know where this was going.
Okay, when we get to chapter 18, classmates, I'm kind of like going, okay, maybe this does start to become young adult. I see classmates, I'm like, oh boy, class.
Are we going to Sky High?
I almost had that thought, but this book has just been like hitting me with the right hook.
I agree.
It's like, you're just when you're starting to expect the left hook, it hits you with the right one, and
or with a kick.
Well, and
in the case of a test.
And we do go
with Fitchner, another character.
Yeah, and we do go to the whole Harry Potter dinner scene as we go into Hogwarts.
Yeah, we do get that, yeah.
As everybody's at the table and meeting and sound off and all of these things. Oh, you got the highest score, so you must be cheating. And there's the dude over there that's the low draft that's not talking to anybody, and the quiet girl over there, and then Cassius is just kicked back, flirting with all the women.
Yeah, right. But in chapter 18 we get a data dump on the classmates, right? I love that Antonia is described as beautiful, blonde, and born to be hated and to hate.
Yeah.
She is a bee on wheels, man.
Yeah. But I like that.
I'll state this right now. Tied and stamp. I never trusted Antonia.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Cassius, we'd already met. We meet Priam, a perfect statue of a man. Parents chose this house. He's not drafted. Because his mother owns both of the moons of Mars.
I love the fact that this is your class president, dude.
Yeah.
This is the guy I've been groomed for this.
I feel like
he comes across as a super nice guy.
Yeah. At first I'm like, I look over and I see him sitting there and he's got on a sweater vest and like a tie and everything. I'm like, I hate you, Priam. But he comes off as very likable.
And this is you do see that there are flaws to the golden structure.
Yeah.
But the Institute, this is where all these flaws are just ironed out.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't, your mom owns 2 of the moons of Mars. It doesn't mean you're gonna live.
Yeah,
you could end up a freaking bronzy out of this.
Yeah, it's true.
My parents are. Your mom owns the 2 moons. My parents are dead, and this is I have no inheritance. This is kind of where I am.
Yeah.
But right now, technically, we're kind of equal.
Yeah.
But I like we kind of continue with this kind of Spartan, kind of Roman, Greek feel. Something like from Spartacus or Gladiator, where Darrow is given pinks for the night, and he refuses them and instead takes a cold shower. And then, because he's thinking about how while he's living now in opulence, his family is going hungry.
Well, and everything here, too, is him thinking about, his real family is going hungry. He's got to keep up this facade, but he's not going to mess with the pleasure bots right now. He's got too much on his plate. Everything's, so wonderful and great, and we just had this wonderful dinner, and it was this banquet, and everything's great. And then we have this total 180 as we go into the next chapter.
Yeah. And I love that at night when he's alone, kind of he's angry then at Eo for having left him, and then kind of regretful of that anger.
This is those. It's realistic. It's those.
The stages of grief.
Yeah,
is what he's going through here. But what I love about what Pierce has written here is it's not drawn out. It's not too much.
Yes.
It's not too little.
Short,
us as
sweet, to the
readers,
point.
like we said, we've connected with Eo immediately within the few little bit that we've had their relationship. She's dead. We need to have this slow progression and this grieving time, but the story cannot lag because of that.
Exactly.
He's still got a job to do.
It can't come off as whiny. It can't come off as emo. He strikes the perfect balance of we're going to go through these stages of grief, get us through it, and get us onto other things, but in a perfect kind of cadence here. Yeah.
And again, to speak to Pierce here a little bit, he doesn't come off as whiny. Darrow never comes off as whiny.
No, which I love.
He comes off as sad and grieving and heartbroken.
Yeah.
But he never comes off as emo and whiny.
No, never. And I love that. And thank you for that. Pierce. Thank you. Because
Especially what we dealt with.
Yeah, because of after what we've dealt with. Okay.
There's a correction I need to make for my own benefit. I keep accidentally saying Mustang and Antonia. I'm mixing up characters. I apologize to the listeners who have been shouting at us for being an idiot. Sorry, they are two separate characters.
Yeah.
And there's one other character I want to talk about before we go to the last chapter here of part 2, and that's Roke.
Oh,
Roke.
yeah.
We have this nice line.
I can't believe I forgot about Roke.
There's a feather of a boy named Roke who looks and speaks like a poet. His smiles are slow, few, but genuine, rare. He's one of the few people who's showing, yep, this is something he actually encourages. He's not lying, almost trying to get ahead of everyone. It's really weird that there's one out of all these people who he's talking to who's real.
Yeah.
Right.
In his mind. In his mind.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
I do
And
like that.
and it gets into this later on the whole transposition between Roke and Rogue and all of this other stuff. But I love Roke because Roke has that feeling of being genuine.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree.
Of being we have a goal. Everybody's playing parts here.
Yeah.
Darrow's playing a part because he's not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Cassius is playing his part as the hi, I'm handsome.
Yeah.
Julian is playing the part of the younger brother. Antonia is playing her part as she's going to be the
Angry.
she's going to be the angry woman.
Everything.
Roke is the one I believe that. Well, dude, I'm just a poet.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like that. So we move on to chapter 19, The Passage.
Which I love the opening.
I love it.
I
Darrow's
love the
just
opening of the passage.
beaten.
I vomit as I wake.
That's fun.
I was like, what is going on here?
Right.
Also,
Maybe you just went to bed happy.
been there.
Not for the same reasons.
No.
Vomits as he wakes. He's beaten, dragged out of his room.
And I totally at this point went, oh crap, they found him out.
Yeah.
That's what I agree.
What'd you
I agree.
do?
And I'm like,
There was a blood test somewhere, something happened.
You turned on the
Yes.
pinks. Gold's never turned on the pinks.
Yeah, exactly. We knew something was
You
wrong.
rolled over and started talking about drilling in your sleep or something.
Yeah.
You're some of your body hair is still red. Something just minute.
Where, Luke?
Yeah.
But
The butt crack.
but then he
Mateo didn't
realizes
get it all.
Then he realizes though they're not using stunners though, and realizes oh it's just another test. They haven't found me out.
Yeah, it's a test.
So, but he doesn't.
That could have been bad.
Yeah.
And he doesn't fight back.
No.
That's the thing is he understands. Okay, this is a test. I have to take this beating, and he just lays there and takes the beating.
Right, which I kind of like because it shows the strength of his resolve to live up to Eo's dream. He's not going to give into his emotions. He's got to play his part because he's now living for something bigger than just this kind of small-minded revenge. He's tossed into a room with Julian. And
God, this killed me.
Yeah.
This killed me.
I hate this part, but I love it so much.
Yeah, I love it and hate it all at the same time. Right, Finchner comes in and tells them that only one can come out. Throws a ring into the middle of.
And this is why we did this for the opening of this show.
Yeah. Pretty strong.
We didn't have anybody to sing for that one part, so this is the next logical part.
So 3 guys can sit around a table and do this one.
Of course it's Julian.
Yeah,
It's gonna be Julian.
But I love this because one of the lines in this chapter is Darrow knows they've thrown me with a kid who I can kill. I have become Darwin's Sigh.
Beautiful.
I love that.
Oh, Darwin's Sigh is a wonderful line.
Yeah, I love it.
Pierce Brown, you are just
a wordsmith.
Oh my God! Like I I'm not gonna kiss butt. I'm not gonna call you a wordsmith, but you were just hitting me.
Wait. So you saying I'm kissing butt by saying wordsmith?
He's just hitting me with the right words.
It's true. It's true.
I honestly, I didn't know where this test was going.
And then
I knew where. Finchner comes in. He talks about 2 men enter, 1 man leave. Thunderdome.
Thunderdome.
Welcome to Thunderdome.
2 men enter, 1 man leave, and he walks out. And I go, okay, is this part of the test? Is Darrow gonna fail if he seems too eager?
Okay.
Yeah.
To kill him?
Yeah, because they have set up this. You got to think outside the box.
Yeah.
So what's the outside of this box?
Yeah. Does he have to kill him? Is he going to fail if he automatically goes after him? What happens here? And we get just this impassioned speech from Julian, which we did in our intro, which is just but I have to live up to my older brother. I have to live up to my family. I have to do. You have to allow me this. There's got to be some way that you can just leave.
Yeah. You can just go home, Darrow.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's no.
But there is no going home, and so they.
And what a description coming out. What a you feel the you feel this description.
And now I am gonna throw it back to what we did. To one of my favorite authors. This becomes Howardian to me. This is Robert E. Howard. Now it strips down to just bare knuckle. Where people they're just punching each other. He even after killing. I mean, he kills Julian.
This is just a hint of what this author is capable of in these action scenes.
Right, and he is going.
Action scenes are his forte.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, this is like a screenplay made to be a movie because you see it in your mind.
You do.
With the music. It's beautiful.
And again, we go back to the dancing.
Very strange.
They even say how Julian does some sort of weird, kind of comes out like with a weird
trying to remember,
but he can't
do everything.
But Julian comes up with this dance move, and there is this moment here where Darrow goes, "I know the counter to that."
I know this dance.
I know this dance.
He becomes Steven Seagal.
I've been a sheriff in 22 counties. Shut up, Steven Seagal.
Oh, you learn about dance? I've been a professional dancer for 35 years.
They killed my wife.
And so, but this description as he punches Julian in the face, the gurgle and the God,
but then
something cracks.
I love how
something
headbutt.
Yes,
it's a headbutt in there too.
It's numerous.
It's numerous. Cut into his own forehead.
It's numerous times. It's numerous times that he drives his head into Julian's face until the gurgles begin, and then he lets him there and watches him essentially choke on his own blood and die.
But I love the end description here.
Here it comes. These ending lines that just nail it home.
I mutter my wife's name as I fall to cradle his head. His face has become like a blood blossom.
Right. A callback again.
Callback to the flowers.
To the flowers again.
Yeah, and so this bring back to Eo and what is he becoming, but for her dream, like he must become this monster.
It's somehow it just escalates into awesomeness, and then just it all of a sudden you feel guilty. Yeah. You feel guilty as he does.
I agree with you. You do because you actually feel the bloodlust and you love this scene for its violence, but at the end of it, he makes you feel bad for what you just felt good for.
Exactly. Well, because
and that's his point.
Because he stepped up and he's like, okay, I have to do this. This is part of the test. This is part of what I need to do here. And we get to the end of him going, oh my God, what have I done? Who am I?
Okay, so we've closed down part 2 of Red Rising. I think we should call episode 7 here. Yeah. But hey, like, what are you guys feeling? How we doing, boys?
Well, I think the audience actually is got a gauge on where we're feeling right now too. For once, we're actually kind of all on the same page.
I would say we're all very
going on.
Yeah. There are
it's a different influence in Tier 4. That's all it is.
Neal, you're
centering influence.
Neal, you're a catalyst of a host.
You are the god of neutrality.
So can I host?
No.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Settle down there, whippersnapper.
Well, for me, this book has been firing on all cylinders, right? I won't lie. When Luke, when you first told me to read this book, I went on Amazon and bought it, and one of the things that came up was that this is young adult.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, I hate to use this new term, but a trigger word. And I'm like, oh no, Luke, you're getting me into a young adult book? Boy, if I were Pierce Brown, I'd be running all over the internet, pulling down the word young adult everywhere it appeared.
Absolutely.
Because this is not a young adult novel. This is what a 38-year-old man who likes to sit around with a podcast with his friends would like to read in his own leisure time. This is firing on all cylinders, and I'm loving where it's gone so far.
And Bob, like I brought up earlier too, is there has to be that definite distinction between having what may be considered young adult characters and being written as young adult literature.
Yep. I agree.
And it harkens back to something that I think, is one of your favorite things in the world we've brought up on the show before. Conan was never that old.
Yeah, true.
I mean, but that was...
He was in many times like 18, 19.
But, but this
supposedly.
This may have young adult characters, but this is not written for a young adult audience.
To me, a lot of times what it is, it's almost like modern movies where like nowadays, the R doesn't pull as much money as the PG-13.
But it should really just be an R movie.
It should really be an R, but they like to try to skew it down that PG-13 line so they can make...
Deadpool.
So they can make the most money, right? If this is young adult, then this is an R-rated young adult.
It is. It's and really what was how this was sold to me when I shouted out the Triforce podcast, Purian Flax, the way he sold this book was nobody writes action like Pierce Brown.
Yeah.
And we haven't even gotten there yet. We just got like a little like
barely a taste. Yeah.
The first taste is free. You're coming back because you're addicted now. This is that is how it was sold to me, and I started reading this book, and you just get these immediate emotional attachments to characters.
Right.
And I'm going to keep saying this. Less than 5 chapters, I'm just invested in Eo. I am just depressed
I'm
when
emotional
she dies.
when she dies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Neal, you're new to the 4th chair. You've sat through the podcast. You've included your feelings and your thoughts with us as we go through here. Talk to us. Luke introduced us to the book. You've dove into all of this with us.
Yeah, and one of the things, when Luke first came and told me, hey, I found this really cool book, that was the very first time you've ever told me you've read a book.
Yeah, I'm a very...
I mean, I don't say that to be mean, but that's the first time...
The tech guy can read other than code?
Yeah, I know. I was surprised because that...
You understand more than ones and zeros?
Ones and zeros and Pierce Brown is all I read.
And talking with all of our friends here, Klab, you've talked to me about books you've read. We've had discussions. Bob, you've talked about it. Paul's talked about books he's read. Luke, this was the first book you ever recommended to me.
Yeah, so I suppose if I've never said anything about a book, the second I say something about a book, that's got to mean something.
It's got to mean something.
Yeah.
So I grabbed the first one. I think I borrowed your copy.
Yep, you did.
So I borrowed it. I read it. I gave it back to you 2 days later.
Because you're good like that.
Because I went very quickly through it, because that's how much I enjoyed it. And then I bought the next 2 off of Amazon because I didn't want to wait for you to get them to me.
Yeah, I'm a slow reader.
And went through them both. And are there some things in there that, they make you question a little bit? Yes. But overall, it keeps you going. It doesn't make you want to let go. As you can tell by reading sometimes way too late at night when you need to get to bed for school the next morning. Sometimes those mistakes happen. And This is one of those books that did that for me, at least.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there are issues within the book here. There are a couple holes that really drive me nuts. Mm-hmm. But one of the reasons that they drive me nuts has to do with the fact that the writing has been so strong so far.
Yeah.
And I don't like loose ends. I don't like things that are left up to understanding or you're just supposed to gloss over. Right. So there's a couple holes here, but I'm perfectly willing to get over them.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, I would say, listeners, if you're coming with us from the other podcast or you haven't picked up Red Rising, I'll tell you now, go get Red Rising, and hey, I'm gonna be so bold as to say, get the whole trilogy without reservation. Yeah. Just grab it. I put it out there. Just get it and read through it. We're gonna do all 3 books here on this podcast.
And you know, if you don't,
it's worth it.
If you don't agree with us, if you think, these guys, they're sci-fi fans. They don't like fantasy. I want to argue with you. Find us on social media. Tell us why we're wrong, because I want to challenge you.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Please, by all means, Dungeons and Dweebs on Facebook, Dungeons and Dweebs podcast at gmail.com.
Right.
Twitter. At D and Dweebs on the Twitters.
Thank you. Twitters. By all means, we're having a great time doing this, and please continue on the journey with us.
Yes.
Right on.
But hey,
Or if you're new, thanks for jumping on.
yeah, welcome.
Welcome
aboard the ship.
I hope you brought a towel.
All right, you guys. I think the warp coil is finally spooled all the way up. Our time slot here in the holodeck is pretty close. I think I hear Riker knocking on the door. We should get out of here.
Yeah, you're right.
All right.
Hey, Quark, do you got a vial for a pink?
Hey, come over here, honey. Hey.
Hey, beam me up, Scotty.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Dungeons and Dweebs. There's even more adventuring to be had at our website, dungeonsanddweebs.com. We would love to hear from you. You can email us at dungeonsanddweebspodcast@gmail.com. You can also find Dungeons and Dweebs on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Find all those links at dungeonsanddweebs.com. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please help spread the word by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes. The music for Dungeons and Dweebs is Fatal Fight by Royalty Free Kings and can be found at their website, royaltyfreekings.com. Dungeons and Dweebs is a Tim Gilbert media production. Copyright 2017, all rights reserved. And no part of the show can be reproduced, repurposed, or redistributed without the expressed written permission of Tim Gilbert Media.